everybody. This is a poker coaching study session with a cash game group. We're going to look at some marked hands. We're going to talk about some stuff, and we're going to try to focus on multi-way hands while we still have our multi-way tool. All right, Matthew, you're a multi-way tool. Let's get started.
That's the nice things people say about me.
Exactly. Do you want to just
So
take the screen and
this
share it?
hand that I just put in chat is not a strategy hand. There's nothing to do with this except just sort of gape at it.
Okay.
So
Why don't
if
you
that's interesting.
share the screen on it? Unless you want, I can
Okay.
do it on the screen if you want. But yeah.
I share screen. Oh, dearie, dearie me. I share. Is that
Yep.
working?
Yep, we're seeing it. The lovely ace
Okay.
hands.
So this is, like I said, this is just, anyway, so I'll just play it out. So I got a pretty standard open here. Hey, multi-way, 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 multi-way.
Yeah.
Now the player on my immediate left is a bit aggressive. So when I completely miss this flop, save for a couple of back doors and obviously I check and he puts in this bet. I'm starting to think, well, gosh, is there any merit to peeling if it folds around to me? Well, that quickly becomes irrelevant as we have bet, call, raise, all in. I'm out. Call, call, call. What in the ever-loving hell is going on? We got one player all in and two enormous deep stacks. Check. Sure, I'll go all in. Call, call, call. Gotta be a blank. All in. Call. This is the biggest pot I have ever seen at this level. I four people all in, and I am dying to know what everybody has. And check that out.
Whoa.
Wow.
This is like
Wow.
out of a movie. So the guy
Yeah.
who flopped the nuts straight is sitting there. This is like the third time he's gone bust. And he's just saying, I got it all in with the nuts. I got it all in with the nuts. And came in last. So it was it was the flop was nut straight, set over set over pair, turn quads, river to two outer to make the second nuts. I mean, like I said, there's just nothing to say. The guy with tens overplayed and should have been out long ago. But that aside, it's just like, what the fuck?
It is shocking that the 10s made it all the way to the river to see that 10.
Yeah.
What
If
a
this-
nightmare for the dealer. With
Exactly.
really 4 or 5 side pots.
Yeah. And ironically, this one guy, I mean, yes, it is a nightmare for the dealer. And the dealer said, give me a minute, give me a minute. And this other guy who's not in the hand says, I can help, and starts reaching in and grabbing chips and dividing things up. And the dealer says, don't do that.
Wait a minute. Shouldn't it be easy? Didn't the fours cover everybody?
Yeah, I think by the end it's easy, but during the flop and the turn, it's like he's got to start divvying all that shit up, right?
Right. And the dealer was just, I mean, it was so enormous. Because these are almost all $5 chips. So the dealer was just like wanting to not screw up. And the guy who was trying to help was just screwing everything up. Yeah, so that's a thing.
That's beautiful.
I mean, like I said, this is just, there's nothing to say about it except, holy shit, it's like a movie.
Yeah. If this were a James Bond movie, the only difference is the four would be on the river.
Okay, so this
guys would have an eye bleed tell. One question about actual question about this. Given that the blinds are 5-5 and not 2-5, and open to is the standard open 15 or is the standard open closer to 20 at this game?
The standard open is much higher. Yeah, the standard open is 20 or 25. When I still raise 15 in most cases, especially in early position.
It makes sense.
15 would be equal to a 2.5.
Right. Yeah,
because
I think 15
2.5 is double the big blind plus the small blind.
Yeah, my standard in this game is in early position, I open 15, in late position, I open 20. So this is a hand, if I can go to the next one. that I have a legitimate question about, and I ran this through Solver, and so innocent, I didn't get it. Like I don't. Anyway, so here we go. So I've got ace queen in the small blind. This is a heads up spot, button raise. This is a standard 3-bet, right?
Absolutely.
So we 3-bet, and we
100%
3-bet pretty big. We get a call, and we nail the flop. We would be betting. I mean, this is a range bet, I think. So we bet.
No.
No.
Why?
This is not a range bet from the small blind. You do a lot of betting, but it's not a range bet. So I might bet more closer to half pot with this.
Yeah, I thought in retrospect I could have bet a little bit more because of the double Broadway. But I bet a third. We get called, and then we hit I mean, I don't really think this card changes much, but it does, just in case they had a set of 5s or something, which just killed them. So what do we do here?
Keep betting. The queen is better for his range than your range. But I don't think you check it.
Anyone check it? If we bet, how much do we bet?
$2E.
So this is exactly what I think. I'm like, this is a 2E spot. I went over my mental calculator. I said, I think that's about 2/3 pot, 2/3 pot, because we're at effective 2. And I get the math slightly wrong, but close enough. But yes, that's definitely what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Bet 2E, fold. Solver.
Why?
Why
are you
what?
thinking that? Why? How did you come upon that bet size? I don't understand.
2E. I want to bet the same amount, the same proportion of the pot on both turn and river to get them all in. And the stack to pot ratio is 2, which means the 2E size is 2/3 pot, 2/3 pot. So I'm betting 2/3 pot on the turn and 2/3 pot on any river, which is enough to get them all in.
Okay.
Yeah. And the terms,
So-
Derek, if you haven't heard them before, 3E means what is the proportion of the pot you have to bet on the flop, turn, and river to get all in, where each is the same proportion. 2E is what do you have to do in 2 streets, usually the turn and river, but sometimes it can be the flop and turn if you want to do it. That's 2E, and 1E would just be bet all in, for 1 street.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Right. And
Yeah,
the
that's
thing about-
that's a concept that I learned in the last few months, and I think it's an extremely important concept to know. It's basically, so when you have a hand that you want to get all in by the river, or you want to represent that you have a hand that you want to get all in on the river, it's based on the stack to pot ratio, knowing how much you have to bet as an equal proportion on. It's usually 2E, but sometimes 3E. If you're doing it from the flop, it's 3E. If you're doing it from the turn, it's 2E. And it's just, if you just need to have those numbers close to memorized.
Okay.
And
what numbers do I need to memorize to do this?
So it's 4. Well, first there are many charts online, and I can post a
Hang
link
on.
in the chat.
I have a
but-
chart that I developed I can link.
Oh, great.
So what it is if the SPR is, an SPR stack to pot ratio, right?
Yep.
If the SPR is 2, 4, 6, 8, whatever, what do I have to bet as an equal proportion on the turn and river to get it all in? So I know, for example,
okay.
if the SPR is 4 and I'm on the turn, I know it's pot. So I'm going to bet pot on the turn, pot on the river.
I just shared the document that I created with
Yep.
the sizings.
Does that make, I don't know who's asking, but does that make sense to you?
That was
Yeah,
Derek.
that makes sense. Yeah. This is Derek. Yeah.
Yeah, so you should know, I mean, if you know that the SPR for 2, 4, and 6, which are really the common sizes and you can kind of estimate in between, you know, because like there's not a penalty if you're supposed to bet 100% pot and you bet 105% pot, you know, the poker gods will forgive you. But if you know 2, 4, and 6, you're set.
Okay, so just memorize 2, 4, and 6. Okay, I got the SPR thing that
Yeah, I just put it up for a minute.
yeah.
Screen if
Well, that's
everyone wants-
perfect. Yeah. That's like exactly what I need to know.
Yeah, you gotta know this. You gotta know this. It's so important.
Okay,
Anyway, okay, so
so
back to the
home-
hand.
Okay.
Okay.
Solver says check almost always on turning the boat. And when you bet, it bets tiny. And that's one where I gotta say, I don't get it. I feel like I'm getting value all the way here. You know, if he's got nothing, like maybe if he's got jacks, you know, then maybe I get a crying call for $50 on the river if I check. But I don't get what Solver's thinking here.
Bet small to induce.
Well, check. It wants check. It
Oh,
wants
check.
check.
Yeah, check to
Well,
induce.
I think we can ignore solver in population sometimes because I think built into the solver is also that the button is going to bet a certain amount of time after we check.
Mhm.
And if population is a little more passive than the solver, that how much more passive does he have to be before we can ignore and just value bet ourselves?
Right. And I like the way you think about that. I like the way you're talking about that because I mean, you know, there's in a way, this is sort of, you know, there's this, I can't stand the Twitter discourse of, well, is Solver valuable for low stakes poker? And, you know, my answer is, yeah, it's definitely, I think it's valuable. I also think it's perfectly reasonable to depart from Solver if you have a good reason, like the reason Joey just sketched out. I think that was Joey. I'm not looking at names. Sorry.
That was Joey.
Yeah, that's exactly the way I look at the solver. Knowing the GTO solutions is important, even for 1 cent, 2 cent poker.
Oh God, yes. It's always useful to have a shotgun at a knife fight.
So this is one where, like, I kind of feel like Joey. I mean, I feel like I'm going to stack my opponent when my opponent has something. And if my opponent has nothing, I'm not getting another penny, so it doesn't matter. So I think Solver is trying to, you know, get that one extra bluff, get that one extra call for those times that villain has nothing. But I think in this case, I want to go for the times he's got something.
I think the heuristic that is active in Solver here is that the queen pairing on the turn is good for you, is better for his range than your range. Therefore, you have a bunch of hands that will be checking there. And then you put this nuts into that.
However, when you check the turn and if he checks behind, you can shove on any diamond, jack, king, or 10. You could just shove 2x into the pot. And that would be reasonable sizing.
That is true. My default is and this is the reason I like geo bet sizing, is I think they overfold to 2x pot raises. So if we give a villain a hand like ace jack, I think if it goes check, check, turn, jam, river, I think they're more likely to fold there than they are to call 2/3, 2/3.
Yeah. That's the thing about Geo is the easiest way to make the guy look on the river and go, oh, well, I guess I'm committed.
Right.
And to
That's my very first poker coach said like his ideal, and this was in the limit because he was a limit coach, was the first time you want your opponent to think, oh, I might really be screwed here, is when they're facing that river bet and they think, well, I'm screwed, but I'm already in this deep.
Right.
Yeah, there's an old term for that I used to teach before the solvers were a thing. It's called massaging the pot. Building the pot without making them bat an eye. And then they get to the river and then they realize, but oh well, I think I got a call anyhow.
Right, exactly. All right, well, if Joey's on my side on this one, I feel a little bit better.
I mean, I do see the value of checking here too, because when you're betting, one strong consideration is your opponent's connectivity with the board. And you pretty much dominate every card out there.
Yep.
So they do have low connectivity.
Yeah. I mean, the counterpoint, of course, is, but that's not really that's very unlikely to change on the river. Like what, if they don't have anything, if they've got a pair of nines, which they got a pair of tens, I'm not getting any more money. So it doesn't really matter
what if they have Jack 10?
Yeah, if they have Jack 10, if they have Queen, if they have King Jack, which is certainly possible, and they make a straight on the river, then maybe they pay off some.
And if they have Queen X, you're getting the money anyhow.
Right.
Because they're going to bet after you check. If they have a good ace, if they have a good ace, how much will they call on the river if it goes check, check?
Right. And I think that's what I'm targeting with this bet. Because they don't have ace king in all likelihood, and they don't have ace queen because there's only one combo left, or two combos left. And so I think their good ace range isn't great. It's ace jack, ace 10, ace 9, and worse.
But on a paired board, ace 10 is still a pretty good hand to call down.
Yeah, but if it goes check, check, and then I 2x pot river, ace 10 doesn't feel so good.
So here's one of the things in terms of blockers. It's the thing you started to talk about, which is when we're putting him on a hand here, queen is good for his range, but we know it's bad for his hand. There's only one queen left. And we blocked the aces a bit, as you pointed out. So the hands he called with most likely are the straight draws. They're only gut shots. And so a gut shot folds to any decent sized bet on the turn here. So maybe that's part of what's going in the solver, is how often he had a hand that he could call this 140 is pretty rare compared to the amount of hands that when they get there on the river, when the 10 or the jack or the king comes on the river and you stack them.
Yeah. And I think that's, I think that's what is exactly what, or part of what solver is thinking, and also bluffs. The solver's also thinking, because look, if he's got a gut shot, which is very possible, he's missing 90% of the time. So we're going to wind up on the river with him having nothing. And solver, I think, is anticipating I can check and he'll bluff his busted gut shots. But in real life, I don't think that happens.
So let's check that out. Since you've got this in the solve, let's look at what happens when you check what solver does on the river. For different rivers. That seems worth it.
I don't have the solve pulled up.
Okay. All right. If anybody want to put this in?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, that's you want to do that?
Sure.
And looking at this hand, I'm now realizing I misentered it on Poker Coaching. The river, or excuse me, the turn was an ace, not a queen. So I had aces full, not queens full.
Oh,
Can you go
Oh,
through
that
the,
makes a difference.
can you go
yeah.
through the action again?
Yeah, when you
I'm sorry, I just went to close the door. Sorry,
check raise,
the action
check
is
raise,
right,
flop
but the
bet.
turn card is wrong.
yeah, if
check
the
raise,
turn card's
flop
an
bet turn.
ace, then you're definitely checking then.
Yeah, the
Oh,
turn
talk
card
about
was
what?
an ace and solve that is I made a mistake when entering it this morning. That's exactly what it was. And when I ran the solve, it was for the ace. And solver wanted check like 75% of the time and 25% of the time like B15.
Right,
Is this
Yeah.
a 3-bet pop
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, with,
at 100
with the
big blinds
ace,
effective?
Joe, you want to talk about why you think the ace is different?
yeah, you completely dominate top pair now instead of second pair.
So there's just nothing left for him to continue with.
So you can bet 15 big blinds because then you're anticipating.
No, 15% of the pot,
Okay.
which is like $30.
Right. But almost that was like 20% frequency. I mean, solver wants check.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see check being much more prevalent with an ace on the turn as opposed to a queen. Because with the queen, you have second pair totally locked down, but there are still two aces that he could possibly have. With the ace, you have top pair totally locked down. So you're not really, unless he has that single ace left, with a good kicker, you're not getting 3 streets of value anyhow.
You guys
Yeah,
want to
and
take a
I
look?
get
Yeah, I want to take a look and for real thing, I want to look at also what the queen on the turn would do. I want to
Okay.
look at both those. All right, let's see it.
so someone
So-
else is sharing.
Yeah, stop sharing, Matt.
Oh, well, sorry.
Let's go.
Stop share.
What suit was the ace on the turn?
It did put out a backdoor flush draw.
So maybe the heart.
I don't remember if it was the heart of the spade, but I remembered it was a backdoor flush draw. So it was either the heart of the spade. Very helpful.
So
So this is a range bet.
Oh, okay.
huge bet board.
But
Yeah.
there are some larger bets too.
So what, we must just, we just have this mostly dominate this. And I would imagine it's not a range bet if it's two-tone and monotone, but I think rainbow makes it a range bet. So, what was the sizing we used on flop?
I used third pot,
33.
which solver liked.
I don't know. Yes, I just want to say, of course we could go either way, but I do like to check on the turn because as Joey and some of you mentioned that we're just like, we're blocking the queen, the ace, we're top pair, we're kind of targeting the good shots and things like king, jack, jack 10, etc. Maybe bet flop, check turn, and then kind of bet large on the river. And yeah.
We're going for not the queen.
Well,
you
I
want-
thought we we're gonna look at both, right?
Let's look at the queen. Yeah, we'll look at the queen first.
Yeah, you check. Check your full houses.
Yeah, same thing. So
Yeah.
solver wants check.
And this solver wants 100% check. Not even a small bet.
Yeah, so it's just it's trapping all its boats and its quads. Which makes sense. I mean, Joey makes a good point. You have to know your customer in reality. And maybe this isn't the most effective line against humans, but against some humans it's definitely effective, especially when you're blocking everything. I mean, I would argue that sometimes at the lower stakes, people call 3-bets too wide, which means they're gonna have a lot more trash here, so they might actually bluff at a certain frequency.
So in
Yeah,
this
see,
one,
I think they under bluff in 3-bet pots. When you're the 3-better, the caller is just not bluffing you on in my versus population. This is my assumption. You're not facing when you're the 3-better and it's a double Broadway board. You're not going to get bluffed. they think you
you're
have
not
ace
gonna
king.
get a bluff from imposition.
Right. The villain is not going to bluff you as the three better because they think you have aces or ace king or ace queen because, you know, you're the three better.
Yep. I agree
Larry,
with that.
click check and see how much the button is supposed to bet after we check. And
So,
that's not ridiculous. 48%.
so it's supposed to, it's supposed to bluff. It's calling its, gut shots, trash hands.
Right.
But also it's getting, you know, when it gets set here with sevens. It's supposed to bluff at a certain frequency down with these.
Bottom pair and
All
under pair
trash.
bluff. Wow.
So it mimics the whole range and how much it's supposed to bluff the bottom of its trash
let's-
hands.
Let's say
Okay.
he checks back now.
Is pocket fives the only value hand they're betting?
Oh,
Queen, we bet the queen, he bets the queen.
So imposition is betting.
Oh, wait, yeah, he hit like filters. I didn't see all the queens betting.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's without filters. So yeah, the queens are betting.
So pocket
So let's-
fives and queens.
and the ace jack that bets is value. It's not massive value, but it's not a bluff.
Yeah. Now
You know,
it is
ace-
value,
Um,
especially after we check.
yeah. So let's give us let's give a check here.
Check,
from the
check.
button. Yeah, check. And now we'll look at rivers, we'll look at rivers that bring in the straight and rivers that don't bring in the straight and see how we act. So just for our theories.
Well,
of
also
what-
rivers that bring in the flush.
Yeah,
We should be able to.
so let's just start on a brick.
Alright,
Give it a deuce of clubs. Yeah. That's pretty bricky. Nobody's got a 3-4 in this hand. And look at the ace queen still waiting.
Yep.
ace queen's still on trap. Yeah, so his,
Yeah, I think that validates the theory that solver is anticipating a lot of bluffs. Which, you know, I feel comfortable saying, well, if that's solver's theory that we're trying to induce bluffs, we're better off betting because at these limits, I don't think you see a lot of those bluffs.
Right. Let's see like a 10, let's see like a 10 river.
I don't think a 10 is going to be as jumpy as the flush draw.
about a 10
Fumble.
flush and
Okay, you give him
Oh
everything.
yeah, 10
Very
of
clear.
diamonds should really do shit.
so what happens now?
Wow.
So it's
we-
betting small. Which makes sense because the entire range should bet small with this, significantly potentially equity shifting card.
Right.
Let's see how much it is equity shifting. Actually. Button here,
51% towards the button. 51.7.
so it shifts.
Yeah,
it.
wow, that's a huge shift.
Oh, yeah.
So in theory, that means that, yeah, the small blind should now bet small.
Well, did I read that wrong? What, on the river, who did it shift to the small blind or to the button?
To
I thought
the
it's,
blind.
I thought it shifted massively to the small blind.
oh, I
Well,
misread
no,
it.
yeah, the button has 52% here.
Right. And then
then
here, the small blind
After
has
the
everything.
10,
No, I misread it. Yeah.
after
the
the
small
10,
blind
the
should
button
be
has
able-
45%.
Right. So the small blind could start almost thinking about range betting here, but he can't bet big because he doesn't have the nut advantage.
Yeah.
He doesn't range bet, but I mean, just looking at the equity,
Yeah, he doesn't have the lunch advantage. He doesn't have the nut advantage.
does not have the nut advantage, so he bets small.
Look at a different diamond, see if it changes with a different diamond. And then maybe a 10 of an offsuit.
Yeah, and then do you want to look at the ace, the actual turn card too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're gonna play the real hand.
Because I
Nothing
don't think,
really-
it's interesting, I don't think it's going to change much, given how much checking it wants on the queen turn. I presume it's going to want basically the same amount of checking on the ace board. Ace turn.
I think it might be even more checking in,
Well, we'll see.
So what
When
can
you
we
say-
value bet? So we're trapping our full houses, right? Let's look at hand classes. Quads are betting full. Unblocking everything else. Full house wants to have trap with its 97% equity. Flushes don't care that it's a paired board.
well, is there a difference in full houses with the ace as opposed to full houses with like pocket sevens or pocket fives?
We don't get here with pocket
We don't,
fives.
okay.
Flush is, yeah, flush doesn't care it's a paired board, which is interesting. And our trips are kind of our value betting as well.
What's the gap in the middle in trips? Queen nine.
Bad kicker.
Well, it doesn't, not necessarily, because this is sorted by equity. So
Oh.
it thinks that the solver thinks this screen nine has 81%. It's just really close. Actually, it's not that much difference in equity to go down the line.
I don't
Oh.
understand why that gap is there, really.
Yeah.
Unless they're doing it just for balance and they pick queen nine as a balance hand.
To protect their checking range? That's the only thing I can think of.
So,
But
all right,
actually-
so what do you want to look at next, guys?
So I think there's something, we wanna look at with the ace queen, with the ace on the turn.
Well, hang on. Let's look here. Just go before you do that. Just go back to the turn. To go back to the small blinds strategy on the turn card. Because I want to just remember. So let's flag. So it's 100% check or on ace queen off, right? 100% check.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, it's obviously not going to be higher than that on the ace.
Out of curiosity, let's just look. What was you had spade club, right?
I think so. I don't remember. I mean, I think I entered spade club when I transcribed it, but it was offsuit.
So it really likes trapping here. It really likes
Yeah.
trapping and blocker betting.
Well, actually, oh, you were looking at EV, not equity.
I was looking at EV, like expected value of that.
I thought it said like 65% or 68% equity. I'm like, wow, that's low for a full house on
No.
the turn.
No, I think it has.
We've got to have like 95% equity
Yeah,
or more.
yeah,
Yeah, there
97.
you go.
All right, that's more like it.
Yeah, we have an absolute hammerlock on this hand.
But there is a significant, 200 big blinds per 100 difference between trapping and value betting. It really likes to trap.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
200 big blinds per 100. Two times 100.
Yeah.
All right.
Two big blinds per hand. So I guess way to you probably could figure it out by then going to the next node and seeing what hands the button does not bet. But still, it's going to be hard. It would actually be hard to figure out if betting makes up for the loss of his missed bluffs.
Right.
Well, yeah, I think it's very player dependent. I mean, solver does solver stuff, but I think if you KYC, then you make a decision here. Some people in my pool are just gonna blast it.
KYC,
Know your customer.
or your customer.
Thank you for asking. I felt dumb.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't know that either.
Well, I feel way too nerdy for using an obscure poker term.
if I'd heard KYV, I would have gotten. But I
I've been
didn't.
playing 20 years and I've never heard that poker term.
Well, I'm glad that I can bring you with new exciting ideas and innovations.
All right, let's do a new one. Let's make it KFC.
Okay,
No.
let's make it KYC.
Yeah, that's gonna be the,
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, KFC.
Know your
KYJ,
effing customer.
what was yours?
So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
We want to look at the ace now?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
although
it's
it's still good,
interesting.
although we know it now.
So what was what was it in game? What ace?
Let's call it the ace of spades. I don't know that it was, but
Yeah, he said it brought a backdoor draw, so it was
brought a
either
backdoor
spades or
flush on, so it
hearts.
was either hearts or spades.
Now we mix, yeah.
Wow.
So that's
Now we
surprising.
bet.
Yeah, I thought there would be more checking with the.
Do we have the same equity? The more equity.
A little bit more.
I
But
don't,
maybe with the ace, there's less for the button to actually even bet.
yeah. You had what? Spade clubs. So we're all with spades on board now. So it can't be this one.
Because if we give a check now and look at the buttons range, let's see how much he bets.
What was the question?
Offsuit turned, did offsuit just turn it to, oh, no. Wrong graph.
He's got
Still-
the spade.
Still betting.
He's got the ace of spades.
Yeah.
So,
But it did
Yeah.
bring it back. It did bring a backdoor, so it has to be hearts. In the hand.
Yeah.
That's still betting more than the queen.
Hmm.
I really thought it'd be, now if we hit check, how much is a button bet? Cause it was about 50% last time. They're betting a little bit less, so I think it was like 51. They were checking 51%
Right.
in the last,
the
thing
other
here.
question I have here is if they do bet, let's say they bet their gut shot. Let's say they bet the. What size
Jack
are these?
10.
So they're supposed to go like a B33, which makes sense. So if they go with B33 here, what are you supposed to do
I think we just
Or-
call.
to top a range? So you mix. Except unblocking the queens, you cure. But yeah.
Well, I
you
think the lesson here is solver thinks we can induce a lot of bluffs by checking the
Yeah,
turn.
yeah, and
And
so
we're all saying in our experience, that's not best. That's not a population tendency. So
I
we're
agree.
okay with going ahead and leading.
Yep.
Yep.
That's how I feel.
And I can live with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think there are people that will blast off.
For sure.
Alright.
But you need to understand who you're playing. Know your
Is,
customer.
is inducing like value bets, like say, like another ace X, is that considered inducing bluffs, or is that?
No, because my theory is if they've got ace X here, they're going broke. If they've got, they are going flat broke. If your average 5-5 player has trip aces, they're taking it.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing even though this is a 3-bet pot, the configuration is still going to be in solver land.
Yep.
It's still gonna be pretty wide. I mean, this is his calling range, so. He still has a lot of aces, but there's only one ace left. So, we can't count on him to have an ace.
Right.
Hey, is there a view of this? Is there a view of this range where where it shows us the app, not normalized, where it shows us the frequencies and it includes blocker effects? No, because it doesn't know our hand. Never mind. It doesn't exist.
So. Yeah, I totally think that it totally makes sense to bet more to trap less than what solver is. But I think trapping has a place against customers, against certain players.
Okay, I've got one more hand that this is one I played badly, and you all can laugh at me. I think I played it badly. Or you want me to share that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So this is. So there, y'all can see this okay? This is working?
Yep. Yep.
So the background here, and this may also be an error. I played 2 days in a row, which is something I do quite rarely. But on the first day, the person to my left folded because I lean a bit to the nitty side, and my opponent I led out with a straight, and my opponent said, "I know how you play," and flashed top pair and mucked, and that made me think, okay, people are marking me for too nitty. I gotta loosen it up a little bit. So that's sort of some of the background that goes into this hand.
Okay.
All right, so typical limp. I think we can limp or raise here, and I decided to raise. Limping may be better, but there we are. So, and anyone want to talk about the merits of over limping versus raising there, or should we just go on?
How much is the rake?
It's California, so it's a pretty big rake.
And it's a drop. JL prefers
drop.
limp.
What
The
does that
limp.
mean?
Sorry?
I don't understand what that means. What does
What
that mean?
means?
What's a big drop to you?
Oh,
$8.
it's I think it's $5 on the flop and another dollar on the turn.
Too big.
Is there
blind.
also $2 for bad beat jackpots in there?
Yeah, and then there's $1 for a bad beat jackpot, but
Right.
that happens regardless. That is
Right.
whether.
Such luxury.
But $7 is out of there. I think JL prefers a limp in this position with 6-7 suited.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I think that might be right, but I was, trying to loosen it up a little, and regardless, it's not really the point. So here we go. We missed the flop, but it's a pretty dry board that favors my range.
Mm-hmm.
Check, check. And so I decide, even though it's multi-way, I decide to take a crack at it. And I bet, and I get a call.
Right.
Okay, well,
What was your, sorry, Matthew, what was your sizing? I missed it.
I think it was, it should be B33. Yeah, B33.
Okay.
And this is the player that you said, this caller is the guy that thinks you're super tight.
No, that was, it was not a direct reaction to that player. That was the previous day. It was just me going into with a new spirit that I am not going to be a nit today.
Gotcha.
So I got a couple of back doors. I'm thinking, well, look, most of the time I'm going to be done with this hand, but maybe I got a chance. Okay, so we get a gut shot. It's better than nothing. So continue or check behind.
I bet.
Love a continue.
All theory says continue, and the only reason that I would shy away from it is the thing that he hit there, probably, if he has it's hard for him to have continued with a deuce or a 3, therefore a bad queen, and a bad queen just isn't folding. So that's super specific, but in general, you were bluffing, you bluffed the backdoor, you picked up equity, you continue. And you polarize.
It's really hard to know what a limp calling range is to an ISO,
Yeah.
but I generally think. I don't think to a B33 much is gonna fold except total misses. So. Yeah, I think a 2 and a 3 sticks around and see if it improves.
Yep. Okay. Good enough. So go with the
So we decide to continue, and we do what we would normally do here if, matching our value. If we had king, queen, ace, queen, we're going to bet 2/3 here. So we bet, that's about, that's pretty much 2/3.
Yeah.
And we get called.
Any pickups from the demeanor of Gillen?
No, not really. And I think in retrospect, I think this turn bet was a mistake. I think I should have checked behind and then evaluated the river. Because for just I don't know who spoke, but someone said, look, he's a limp caller. probably what he has here is a weak queen. And yeah, maybe he's got ace-3 or something and stuck around, but probably it's, queen 10, something like that. Queen jack, maybe even queen king. And
I'm thinking middle pairs a lot.
And this bet's not going to get it done. All right, so we bet, we get called, and then this card comes on the river. So what do folks think of this card?
Perfect.
It's a good card to bluff.
Blast away.
It hit you.
So what do we do? So it checks.
Bet our king.
60%, 60 to 80%.
Well, let's look at,
84.
I mean, your SPR is less than 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think
Oh,
I think
damn.
if you're gonna bluff this, your size is shove.
Yeah.
Yep. We hit our king. We're happy shoving it in.
Yeah.
Perfect card.
That's
Well, you're all smarter than me. I bet half pot, thinking just what you're saying. Oh, this card hits my range. If they think I've been bluffing, they think I have ace king. Remember, I'm uncapped. I bet every street.
yeah.
So, so
Should we
what do they
do a
think I have?
poll on the reveal?
Okay.
What do you guys think villain has? All right.
Well, I
I'll-
know, so I can't participate.
I
he
think
has a
villain
bad
has.
queen.
I
He has
think
a
villain
queen.
has 9s. Queen 10, Scotty said.
Off.
Queen 10
I
off.
think maybe queen jack or pocket jacks.
Okay, so
We haven't revealed if he called or folded, right? No, we don't know that.
I'm offering 10 to 1 that it's 10s. Anyone want to take it?
I want to take it.
Yes. Yes.
I'm
I
just
will take it.
kidding. Okay.
We'll jump
I
on
will take
that.
it. But I will also
Jump
say one
on that
other
all
thing.
day.
About this hand. We also have information about this hand, which is we have a good reason to believe that the villain did not fold because Matthew brought us this hand.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
When it works, you don't need to bring it to us.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
so-
I think, okay. So should I do the reveal?
Yep, we're ready.
I mean, you're all basically right.
Yep.
No, I'm right.
Nailed it, Skate.
Thank you
Okay,
once
win.
again.
So I think my big mistake here, and I'm not looking at voice, so I don't know who said it, but if I'm gonna bluff, I gotta shove. I mean, betting half pot is just, that's nitty. Like you've either gotta barrel or not.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this halfway is dumb.
Yeah, I think you gotta, it's, the SPR requires a shove if you're gonna bluff it.
Well,
So
and the
he-
same thing goes if you have your value too. You just said, if I'm gonna bluff, I gotta shove. Well, you also have value, you gotta shove.
Right.
However,
So villain tanked. Oh, what a bad river card. It's such a bad river for me. Oh, it's such a bad river. And then call.
yeah, that's why you shove. But here's why your small bet is not terrible. And in this case, the smallest bet you're legally allowed to make, which in Matt Affleck world is a half pot, which is,
What?
you know what else you want to get to
What?
fold here?
What? This is the first time I heard of this.
Oh, we'll
The
talk- we'll
smallest
go
you're
through
allowed
it.
to bet is half pot.
Yeah, so here's the thing. On the river, when you're betting, you're reopening the action, right? So whether you're betting for value or as a bluff, the smallest bet that makes sense in one way of looking at the game is a half pot. And that's how at least two players who are better than us play. Matt Affleck, and they've said that it's true in tournaments and in cash games.
Okay, I don't play like that.
Right, that's fine, because there are other players who are better than us that say, screw that. I have a range of bets that I can make on the river. And let me point out, Derek, it's only in position. It's not out of position. Out of position, you have one big blind bets and you have blocker bets, you have everything. But in position, because you're reopening the action,
Okay,
you
like,
have to, when you win a certain amount of money. So
I
a
think-
one big blind bet. Oh, go on, Derek, you were saying?
like I I think that most people in the population that I play against don't have the balls to check raise the river without like the nuts. or
Right, but
close
they,
to
but,
it.
but sometimes they have
So-
the nuts.
So
Right.
that means I can bet like a quarter pot just to get really thin value on the river.
Okay,
Like
so
I'm not
that's an
playing
ex-
against Phil Galfound and Jonathan
Right.
Little and
Yeah.
Phil Ivey.
So that's an exploit that is approved by some of the coaches. I think Jeremiah Williams was up like that. I know Jonathan Jaffe does it. He bets he has smaller than half pot bets, if I remember correctly.
But if I want
That
to
was-
move up,
Right.
half pot is minimum, is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that was Affleck's statement, and so we remind ourselves of that. And then when you deviate, you got to go, I have a good reason to deviate from Matt Affleck.
That's,
And-
I think that what you just said is exactly the way I approach it. If I'm in position and I want to bet half pot or more, and if I find myself wanting to bet less than half pot, I stop myself and say, do I have a really damn good reason for doing this? And if I do, I'll go ahead.
Yeah.
But
Like
generally, my baseline is half pot or more.
okay, do
But let-
people at 5-5 have the balls to check raise bluff you on the river?
But Derek, it's not just about the bluff. So
Right.
let's go to a super extreme example. You are in position, and with your range, you decide to bet one big blind. That is a terrible idea because you only win one big blind from all of his bluff catchers that you have beat when you're beat. You never get you never get a bluff catcher to fold for one big blind and all like that. But when he's trapping you, you just gave him permission to trap you. So one big blind is a terrible idea. Yes?
Nope. Okay, but if I bet one big blind and they shove, I just fold and say, nice hand.
Sure. So
They
what-
don't have the balls to check
Right,
raise me with a bluff there.
right, but Derek,
So I
What-
lost one big blind. I don't care.
what did you gain with that one big blind bet? One big blind.
I
You could have
gained-
just checked behind and
against
see
his
who wins.
range. Yeah, but against his range, I get one big blind.
So
Right, but one big blind is shit. I mean, I think that's sort
I
of the
agree. No, I
fundamental
agree.
point.
I agree.
If
But-
you're going, the theory is if you're debating, this is a thin value bet. Is this value bet too thin? And then you say to yourself, this potential value bet is so thin, I don't want to bet half pot. Then check behind. Then just check behind, turn your hands over, and see who wins.
And so what my attempt here is,
Yep.
I'm not gonna try to convince you to not to bet less than half pot. I just want to clarify both for myself and for everyone else here, the logic behind it. Then if you accept that logic, you can take your play. And if you don't, that's fine. So I don't need to convince you. But we know there is if you accept the following, that betting one big blind in position is almost always a terrible idea. That it's very hard to think of a hand where you should be betting one big blind on the river. Okay? And
if you
Okay.
think that they're not going, like if you have like thin value, you can get that extra thin value. You can bet like 5 or 6 big blinds and they'll just say, fuck it and call it.
right.
That's
So,
what you're looking for them to say, fuck it. You're
Right.
looking for a fuck it, I call.
Right. but remember, the cost of doing that to you is not one big blind. The cost to you is the pot.
No, I'm saying that my population doesn't have balls to check raise me on the river.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah, and that
And-
I
and-
guess
and you can-
in looking at this hand, like let's say instead of bluffing and all this, let's say we had Queen 10. So that would be a hand where looking at the hand I just shared. So if I've got Queen 10, I've got second pair, okay kicker. I would think, well, I'm probably good here. I'm probably ahead, but I'm going to check behind because I think if I bet and get called, then I'm not confident enough. So I'm not going to bet 25% pot. I'm just gonna turn over my cards and see who wins.
Well, here's my thinking, and I could be wrong here. I bet small so that they say, oh, fuck it, and call it with their Queen 7 or their like pair of jacks or their 10s.
Okay.
Because the main error that my population does too much is they call too much.
Gotcha. In that
And
case,
they don't have the like. How often do you ever get check raise bluffed on the river
okay, so
in
let's
5-5?
So I don't know.
Does that happen?
Well, we don't know because we don't always see their cards.
Right.
We've seen in my hands where we get to see it. I think we've seen check raise bluffs very rarely there, but we have seen them. We have seen them. They do exist. So let's just assume that you're right, that you are never being check raised unless they have it. So your proper play on the river with thin value is going to be bet some very small amount. We haven't determined what it is.
Right.
And you're saying even, and we're going to say even as small as one big blind. And whenever they raise that one big blind, we will fold.
Right. Because I assume they don't have the balls to check raise me.
Right. Exactly. Right. You've said that. So if you are doing that and they do not catch on, then the Matt Affleck rule probably, I could be wrong about this, does not apply to you and your population, and you can ignore it.
Okay.
Also, I'm assuming that when they check raise bluff you to 2 big blinds, when they check raise you to 2 big blinds, you are also calling. So they have to check raise you a reasonable amount. You know, right. Now, in the world where we have included a set of bets where we talk about betting small to induce, where we think that that the small bet sometimes does make them go nuts. And I have seen that, although I have not seen it much out of position. We've definitely seen where we bet small on the river and we have seen them jam bluff. We actually, we haven't seen it. We haven't seen the check raise bluff that I remember particularly. Maybe we'll see one coming up and like that. But in the world you've described, the Matt Affleck's rule does not apply.
Right.
In the world where some players have check raise bluffs and where some players look at your very small bet as a license to check raise bluff more often than they normally would, then in that world, which is not your world, but as many of our other worlds, we can conclude that a 1 big blind bet on the river is a bad idea.
Okay.
Okay, good. If a 1 big blind bet is a bad idea, then there is some number where the gain of what you get for when they call with their bluff catchers starts to equal the risk of reopening the pot to both value check raises that you have to call and, because your hand is good enough to call, and bluffs. Matt Affleck said that number is half pot.
Okay.
And we listened to him and said, okay, that is a good heuristic to put in. And we also found that other top players didn't always follow it, so we don't always follow it. So that's where that came from.
Okay.
I think we've now done enough of that one. There was another point though that you wanted to make. Oh, I remember what it was, Matthew. On your hand, here's where I'm going to defend. I'm going to defend your small bet there, which is it's because your hand is so bad, and this is why this is valuable. I'm going to list some hands that you're going to get folds from with a half pot that you want folds from. So put up the hand again. So Mike says that the wizard is also following that rule.
Rarely see it goes.
Right. So hands they're going to fold. Every 2 club hand that doesn't have an ace, king, or a queen is folding to this bet. And many of them, Jack 10 of clubs, Jack 9 of clubs he can have are folding. Are folding and have you beat. You might get a fold from ace 6, ace 7, ace 8, ace 9, ace 10 of clubs. This half pot bet.
Possible.
So this
I think that's possible. I think, we assessed, and those are possible hands. I think that'd be a pretty loose flop peel with ace 7 of clubs after I bet on the flop. It's possible, but if we're targeting, we said we think his most likely hand is queen jack, queen 10. We got to bet more.
10, 10, 9, 9. Yeah.
Yeah, he has, Scotty's right about those hands, but if you look at his, again, and this is an obvious fishy limp call ISO rain. He's just gonna have a lot more queen X that's gonna play this way. He is
Yeah.
gonna have the hand Scotty talked about there. You definitely, if you're targeting this bluff, you're like, well, what is queen X gonna fall to? And the answer is a shove.
Right. And the answer is only, the answer isn't a shove. The answer is only a shove. The difference being queen X may not fold to a shove either. Just making that clear. And
That's true.
and my thought here on the river of why it's a give up is that I don't want to try to build my strategy around getting a queen to fold.
And this is in response to Skate's question. He just asked, aren't we short stacked? That's why I think, in retrospect, the better play was check behind the turn, because we think he's got a queen and he's not going to fold it. Let's see if we hit our gut shot, and then we can bet it for value. And if we get an ace or a king, then we can bet bigger on the river and basically save our ammo for the river.
That's nice. That's nice.
That's what I think was the best line. It was check behind the turn, evaluate the river. On this river, then we can jam 2x pot, and then he's folding every queen.
I mean, there's also an argument to use the Brazilian method, which we have considered in the past, which is bet small flop, bet small turn, a little bit more or the same size in chips, and then shove river, giving maximum oomph to your bluff.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on. I'll shut this one down, and
Good.
others can.
Okay.
I've got a
Do you have
hand
any-
if you guys wanted to see it, or anybody
Yeah,
else.
let's see it. Let's do it.
Alright, so we're multi-way focused, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do anything. We prefer multi-way.
Okay. Alright, so multi-way madness continues.
Yay.
We open two flatters, so we're not, it's gonna be hard for us to solve this, obviously. Four ways with the second nut flush draw. What are you guys doing here?
Check, 100%.
Check.
Yeah, everybody's checking. I agree. So this hand gets easy after this. And it's not about, I'm more curious about range, what we do with range and where our thresholds are to you guys. So we get there. We're never donking, agreed? Or do we
No.
donk?
No.
Okay, so now it gets easy. So this is the only question. This is an obvious call. The only question is, what's our threshold here? So the question is, do we call this with jacks, a set of jacks, or a pair of jacks with the jack of clubs?
This is interesting. I'm folding the queen here.
No. Yeah.
Oh, so I guess, so for me, I'm folding jacks, obviously. I'm folding the
So you
queen.
fold this. So you're gonna fold this second nuts here.
I'm gonna fold the second nuts there. I don't say it's right, but I'm gonna fold the second nuts there.
We're gonna fold in the flop.
You're gonna fold on the flop.
No,
Oh,
I mean, probably not, but I really wanted to, being honest.
Am I a station? I might be
No, the
station.
flop was a.
No, I'm calling this.
Yep.
And I
good.
think you're right at the threshold. Jacks would kill me. I'd flip a coin. Tens, I'd fold. I'd probably fold.
So this is so yeah, this is kind of interesting too, because we've got this broken stack here. Let's,
I
So-
just got back and it's looking like I might wanna fold this too.
so you
Because
have to
people
give
are,
this, so let's think a little bit of what a flatting behind range is. It's hard to know. But we can strip him of some ace of clubs. We can strip him of ideally ace, well, you can't have ace king clubs. I think doesn't matter at this point. But it does actually skew him more towards like an ace 10 of clubs or an ace 9 of clubs or ace 6 clubs. So for you guys, some guys, this is a fold. This is an easy fold.
Yeah,
Alright, let me
although I
ask you
would,
a question. Do you think he's doing this with a jack or 10 of clubs?
Well, I know he is actually. He's doing this with a hand he shouldn't be doing it with.
Really.
Yeah, the question is a threshold. So this is. Yeah, so this is a fold for some guys. All right,
Yeah,
that's important. I
I'm actually-
think
I'm
this
not-
is, I think this is the cut, threshold. I think second nuts is a threshold.
Yeah, I'm looking at the hand differently now. Now that I see that next act is kind of short stacked, and yeah, I'm looking at it differently now. Yeah, I'm not sure. It makes it more. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hemmed and hawed here, but I think this is the threshold. So yeah, he did this with a hand he shouldn't have.
oh my,
Easy call. So, I can understand why there is some value to folding, but I think this is just, I think second nuts is the threshold. All
yeah,
right,
this is a really good hand to show for one other thing, because I was about to make, for my ace of clubs arguments, I was gonna make, which was, this is against my position of why I folded, was for his ace of clubs, it's hard for him to have the offsuit ace of clubs there, because after the bet and the call, he doesn't want to be in there with ace seven, ace five, ace 10. And his good aces that he wants to be there with, he squeezes. So if it's not suited, he wants to fold all those middling aces. But obviously that he didn't if he's going to play
But-
queen nine offsuit. So I'm picturing the wrong player here.
But this is 20 no limit on global.
Yeah.
are you
They
gonna,
can
are you
most
gonna,
definitely
why am I
have-
getting stake shamed here? No stake shaming, man.
Alright, I'm not trying to stake shame you, but I'm saying player
This is getting kind of consistent.
9341 can definitely have offsuit aces in his range. Don't make the mistake of thinking they think the same we do.
Right. That's my exact point. That once we see this, my ace argument is invalid for this player, clearly. I'm agreeing with you.
Fish
Sure.
or
I mean,
fish?
no, he could
And-
have us beat here, but we could be ahead too, so we call.
Okay.
All right,
One
Fish
just one
tend to have-
general. Go ahead, Joey.
Oh, I was gonna say fish tend to have a stable set of hands that they will play every pot with whenever they get those hands, regardless of the action before them. And some of them will play any ace they're dealt.
Right. And some will play any
Yeah.
two suited.
Yeah, I'd be like to ask Larry, like, with his play there, and I don't know how many hands you'd had at this point, but I think with somebody like that, you're gonna see pretty quickly what kind of player they are. So I don't know if Larry, if you had any like knowledge or reads that he was kind of a fish anyway.
it was a long time ago, so I don't recall any reads.
Yeah.
The thought I wanted to add was one of the things that I worked on with coaches is for each hand, sort of in each flop, each turn, ask yourself, am I on offense or on defense? Meaning, am I trying to, drive the betting for whatever reason, for bluff, for value, or am I just trying to get to showdown? With your queens there, you're on defense. And with his queen nine, he should be on defense. And he made a huge mistake thinking he was on offense there. And
Yeah, that
it
is
bit
a-
him in-
That was a classic polarization error.
So you're saying if he's gonna do that, if he's gonna do that as a bluff, he should do it with no club. If
I-
he's gonna,
No, I mean, I can't think of. I'm not. I mean, if I didn't have a club with his hand, he should
never
check
bluffing.
behind and call a small river bet.
Yeah.
If he didn't have a club, I'd just give up. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
win multi-way.
I'm never bluffing there. That's just that the sandwiches just seems like a terrible place to bluff.
I mean, if
Yeah.
it goes checks through the turn and then checks through the river, and he's got last action and clearly a non-winner, then I don't hate a bluff there. But
Right.
that's not the situation we were.
No, no, no. Okay, do we have any, so good call, good population read, good individual read, or good luck, one of the two. One of the three. His bluff would have worked against me and I would have been bringing this to you guys with my tail between my legs, showing that hand.
Got a multi-way.
All right.
Some questions to be asked. It does have a limper short
Oh.
stack. So okay.
Jack 10 is decent for a limper's range, but he has 25 big blinds, so he's not the important one in the hand, to quote Joey.
Yeah. I thought it was a pretty clear check here.
Sure.
Checks through. We bink. So now I think when we're looking at solvers, like we kind of rarely bet here, right? Like even with the nuts, like it wasn't
I think
super
bet.
frequent.
I think we bet our value here. The big blind has the button in his hand, the imposition player has chosen not to bluff the flop. I don't think that we can expect a lot of bluffs on the turn. And he'll call a value bet if he's got value.
Or draws. I mean, this is a super draw heavy board. I am betting this, I think 100% of the time.
I think theory here says a lot that we bet because we're unblocking their continues, which is the beauty of this of a straight, is that we're unblocking everything that they can call.
Yeah, we are also unblocking the flush. We are also blocking the flush draws.
That is about, yeah, good point.
but fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, bet and bet large.
I went small.
Okay.
I don't know.
How did you choose the bet size?
I just felt like I kind of had it locked up with blocking both of those flush draws with cards that are going to be pretty clear flush draw candidates.
Mhm.
So I didn't know what to do. Like, this is why I brought it up. Like, I wasn't sure. Should I go big? Should I go small? Should I check? But it just folded through. So
So we're
Do we
gonna
get
run
the
this,
reveal?
run this in the solver on the following assumptions that are not that far off. We're in the low jack. The 94 is gonna be on the button and the short stack, well, short stacked and all that. He's gonna be in our big blind because he has a range that could call from the big blind, his limp call range. And this is gonna
Yes.
work. 6s is in range and 4-3 is in range. So this is great.
Yeah, I like your bet. I think
I-
you
I
bet
just
there
wanna see
because
what
you're unblocking
sizing
everything.
DTO gives us after a check, check, check. I'm not sure if we looked at any check, check, check boards.
I think we've seen it and I think the bet is large. That's why that was the one thing I was gonna say to this. Okay, let's
can't-
go.
I can't remember, to be honest with,
All right. So we are gonna go with our new tool. So that my thing is, I think that based on what we've learned, I think that your bet on the turn is generally going to be larger. But I think in all the specifics, it was fine.
yeah, DT is going to have that pot size bet is what it's going to
Yeah,
be.
that's what I
We've seen
think.
that over and over and over. I don't
Well,
know if we've
we've
seen the
seen it-
check, check, check version of it, but I feel like we
We've seen
have.
it heads up. I don't know if I do know we saw some with smaller bets, and I don't know if it was three-way to the turn where the smaller bets came in.
It was the board was Jack 10, right? And the queen
Yeah, it
binked.
was Jack 10-4.
All right, Jack 10-4.
It
And one
was
guy
two
has
tone,
pocket
however,
six,
but
the other guy has 4-3 suited. All right, those are in range. So, the 4-3 suited checks range. The low jack here with the ace king, this is us.
this is where I thought we might have bets.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, we do have some bets.
We have bets. Ace king is allowed to check. Most of the offsuit ones, the offsuit mostly checks. Some bets, and the suited one checks the spades and bets the backdoor flush.
Oh, no, this doesn't
This is
make
the
sense to
opposite
me.
of what we said.
I thought Jack 10 was like the perfect board for an in-position caller.
Our overall bets are 34%. We're not betting 50% of the time. We've seen bigger percentages. Not great for us. But here's the interesting thing to me is the opposite of what we saw before. The offsuit variety here checks more. And here in the backdoors, it used to be the thing we saw was with the backdoor, we were seeing the backdoor being the one more willing to check. Is that right?
Is that heads up or multi-way?
In the multi-way is where we saw it.
Yeah, I don't recall
I
that
think
heuristic.
I think we saw that yesterday on the turn after it was heads up.
Okay, that's fine. We'll start looking for it. But anyway, the logic here is when you have the backdoor, when you have the combo draw, the combo being another backdoor, you're more willing to bloat the pot than here. Because this hand these hands, if they get check raised, they aren't folding. Or if they get raised, they aren't folding. And this hand might have to, so it doesn't want it to happen as often. That's my interpretation of the heuristic here.
Same here.
Okay. And we'll see how often that gets violated. So you check, perfectly reasonable with your ace king. And the button checks behind, just so you know, this is his range here. He does a lot of betting, 62%,
Wow, he does a lot more better than I thought.
right? His pocket sixes can bet, but mostly don't.
Pocket twos, pocket threes, pocket fives.
Yeah. Bluffies.
Yep.
So
pocket
he's betting,
twos,
is he
pocket
betting,
threes.
and there's no slow playing with top of range either.
No sets, basically no sets check,
So all his sets and all his T pair are betting.
right? And his top pair, bet,
And his one
Bet.
over pair bets.
and his one over pair bets. Yeah. So he's betting all, and his second pair is where he's got some checks.
Yeah.
So we
Jack
do
10
see this a
board is
lot,
so
I
good.
think, right? I mean, we see one heuristic I've taken away is that when you're in the back seat, multi-way here, on flop, we do bet at a high clip.
Yep. Bottom pair bluff, no additional draw. Bottom pair bluff,
Well, this is actually higher than what we've seen. Because the other ones we've seen, we were somewhere around 50%. We've only seen a couple where the button gets to bet over 60%.
yeah.
We
Button
have
lo-
seen a couple, but for the most part, it's usually between 51 to 55%.
And this is counterintuitive to me because this board looks like it just connects with everybody's range, with big blind's range too. But maybe not.
Effective for me because I don't
So-
usually bet the pocket twos here.
Yeah, the solver doesn't usually bet them either. But it is a legal bluff. All right.
It's
up,
just such a good board for you. You get to bluff a lot.
Yeah. We bink a suit. There are two suits on this board in reality, but this is fine. And now the bet size is pot. That's all.
Interesting.
Check
Pot
big
and weak,
blind.
but that's all it gives you. Big blinds bets, big blind still checking range.
Makes
Big
sense.
blind has no ace king. So big blind checks.
So an important piece here is that the only person in theory who has ace king is our hero.
It's still
The
checking.
button had a little bit of ace king. But in an absolute sense, we'll take a look at it. So ace king mostly bets, and when it bets, it does the pot size, not the two pot. And pot is the smallest it allows you to bet, so it isn't about your hand. but as a heuristic,
And before
check
you
that
leave there,
check.
check the other ace X suiteds, like what's,
ace X suited. Okay,
yeah, so ace nine, ace eight, what are those are,
right. So with the heart bet's pure, the spade bluffs pure, and the clubs bluff. So lots of bluffing.
and is that all the way through these ace X's?
Bluffs, yeah.
The other question I would have is
Ace
with,
five suited doesn't, ace five of spades doesn't do it.
with the top of range, so our top two pair, queen jack is mixing as well. And it looks like our sets are mixing still.
Yeah, because of straight hit, so a set isn't as strong as it was on the flop.
Yeah,
But then
And-
we're trapping with our straight as well. Our
Yeah,
Broadway.
you have to. It makes sense to have it at least some small portion of the nuts in the checking range.
and these are now bluffing pure. These are now close to bluffing pure. Deuces bluff pure. Threes have some give ups. Fours pure. Fives pure.
Fours is a set.
Fours is a set, thank you. Fives is not a set,
But it's blocking. Wow.
but it blocks 5-4. And threes don't block 4-3 because that's not in the world. And deuces are going to lose. Sixes might, 6s, 7, 8s, 9s might win. Set, over pairs. So I guess that's your breakdown. Fives aren't gonna win, sixes might, is the,
Is it mixing? So it's using kind of the wrap bottom pair combo draw for its 2x. Is it, that's king 10 off? Is it mixing? It's only 2% of range. I think we could ignore it.
Yeah, I don't see any value bets with that king, with that 2x pot.
No,
And it's not much of range.
Just
Yeah.
turning bottom pair into a bluff.
bottom pair with a straight draw.
an open ender.
Yeah, but that's still bluff as opposed
Yeah.
to. Usually there's
That's not doing it
mix.
with king jack. Not doing it with ace 10 with a gut shot.
Do we wanna look at the check trap with Broadway? And if we then check raise? When bet button?
Sure, but here we go with your ace king. Ace king mostly betting, a little bit of checking, and the bet size being bigger, so
So pot size
Fine.
is still. Pot
Still
size
default.
size is still the bet after check.
yeah. And we did see this yesterday, so we're just reviewing that. Okay,
I
so
can't-
now
I don't remember seeing this one though, to be honest.
you may have gone. You went off. We may not have seen it by then. All right, so now after this, the button does not, the button who has some ace king, and by the way, this is how much ace king he
It's
has,
very little.
very little. But his ace king, and doesn't have any king 9. So that's the only straight for him. Sets pure,
8-9.
8-9. Mixing. And he doesn't have he doesn't have the same amount of crazy bluffs that the low jack did.
So
low jack- Ace
oh, sorry,
three.
go ahead.
Oh,
I was just gonna say that it looks like he just. When he doesn't have the nut advantage, when the nuts are clearly in the advantage of low jack,
Yeah.
he's just treading very carefully.
he does bluff bottom pair. He doesn't bluff under pairs.
Scotty, let me see the global numbers.
Yeah.
So he's checking 82%.
Yeah, he bluffed up. He took his bluffs on the flop.
Okay, so. That's something we should also look out for too, if we're on the button. And we check the flop, we don't have. Is
Well,
it
I think-
maybe because
I think
this,
this is a unique situation where the Broadway came in and low jack is the only one that really should have Broadways.
right,
So there's the bet that you asked about. There's the fold. Now back on the low jack, what he does with his ace king now.
he mixes.
Yeah, I gotta see it bigger for it. Still mixes it.
Does
Most
he
would
like,
check.
what's his preferred size? Is $32? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So what is that, 4x?
4x. 4x and 7x are the only options that it gives, and it only takes the 4x. This straight does it pure. The bottom straight does it pure.
King 9 mixes. Or I mean, King 9 checks
King 9 checks.
and Ace King checks a bit.
Yeah.
How much King 9 does he have in range?
I
I
hope
didn't look
none.
at that.
No, he has enough to make it
A
to
little bit, yeah.
has enough to contribute to the solve. 9-8 he doesn't have. There we go. So this is irrelevant. So compare your King 9 to your Ace King and ignore your 9-8. And this makes sense. Check the second nut, bet the nuts some, and okay.
Did any of you guys see Matt Affleck's multi-way thing last night?
I did.
He used Prometheus, and watching his webinar really lowers my confidence in DTO
Okay, good.
as
Let's-
a learning tool. I'm not sure because it just seems really limited because Prometheus there were all kinds of donks like leading, multi-way, smaller bet sizes on the turn, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's interesting that it made me kind of wonder just if DTO as a learning tool is maybe handicapping us a little bit.
Okay, well, let's watch it. That's not how you spell Affleck.
Well,
Is that how you spell Affleck? Affleck.
obviously, of all the multi-way tools available, DTO is definitely the lowest graded, lowest on the level of all the others available.
Yeah, he didn't even include it. He said he listed there's a few tools out there and he listed 3 of them and DTO was not one of them that he even mentioned.
Was Simple
right.
Three-Way one of them?
Yeah, simple 3-way, is it HRC
Yes.
and Prometheus? And he used Prometheus in his webinar.
All right, we will probably skip next month for multi-way because multi-way breaks my brain. But we will do another multi-way month with one of the other tools. That is a good answer. And Black. Bye, Gilbert. we all miss Gilbert Gottfried. Yeah, I'll take a look at the prices on all this and I'll end our DTO.
They get expensive, man. And so, I mean, once again, shout out. I mean, maybe we should send you, if you get a more expensive tool, we should send you some money.
Yeah, but in that month, I'll let you guys Venmo me something to share it. Okay, sounds good. We have any other hands here?
I have a ton of hands that I was kind of looking at the other day,
All
queued
right.
up, but they're not all multi-way. I was trying to filter them out for multi-way, but
Put up whatever you got. If it's a if you can start, if you've got it organized, so you can start with the multi-ways, do that. But otherwise, just put up what you got. And anybody else who's got anything, just raise your hand and we'll do those.
okay, here's a couple then I think will be simple pre-flop type decisions that I just had like to look at. I wasn't sure where we stand on these kind of things. Take a look at this one. So here we are. It happens a lot. We get
Hey.
Yep. Joey, you were saying something?
No, I was trying to get a link, and then when you shared screen, it knocked me out of my link.
Sorry.
Oh, a link? It wasn't a link on ours.
I just posted the link.
Oh, you posted it. Okay, good. Thank you.
What's our range here to ISO to overcall?
This is a weird one.
Um,
I think it's either ISO or fold.
multi-way pots. It's
sorry.
been a while since we've done some multi-way pot works.
There we
Oh,
go.
shit.
It's okay. That was me.
Oh,
Yeah, I hit the button so I could watch it later.
okay, from the small blind, since you're gonna be out of position, I like to use an early position range to ISO.
Yeah, so like good, like a low
Yeah.
jack or even earlier.
I would be ace 10, plus king, queen plus suited broadways, eights plus, and suited. I don't know how low in suited aces I would go.
Maybe ace nine? No. Yeah, maybe. Or actually no, ace 10. You want
Hey, do
more,
you have
yeah.
any experience seeing how this guy reacts to ISOs in the game?
No,
Is- Yeah, so I mean, I'd throw this into an ISO bluff range if I'd seen this guy a couple times, 3 or 4 times, limp fold. A lot of people just limp auto fold to an ISO. Not everyone, but a lot of people do.
but never overlimp.
Not, I wouldn't over limp this hand in this position, out of position.
I would.
I would ISO bluff or I would fold.
Yes, but what hands would you overlimp? I would certainly overlimp suited connectors, small suited connectors, suited one gappers.
Anything suited that can make it straight.
Yeah.
Because you're only paying half a big blind to
Yeah.
limp behind.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would ISO, I think, all of my ace X suited. I don't think I would limp behind the ace deuce suited.
Any suited Broadway card that you don't want to raise. So that's like down to jack 2 suited.
Ugh,
I would limp behind.
ugh.
Yeah, maybe.
You only have to call half a big blind to see a flop.
I know, but I'm not worried about seeing the flop. I'm worried about what happens after the flop. I'm just talking reverse implied odds when I go, I don't know you.
No,
I'm not
I'm
saying
not.
you're wrong. I'm saying,
Yeah,
Do
we
you
have
think-
a button limp. I'm not worried about reverse implied odds yet.
Okay. Because remember, when we saw the 2 and the 2.5 big blind opens, and there was at least 1 or 2 callers, and we were in the big blind, we did not call those jack deuce suiteds, and numerically we're pretty close to the same thing. I mean, it's the same as calling a 2 big blind raise in the big blind to call a limp in the small blind. The range you're against is weaker, so that's a point in favor of not but against is you're out of position against 2 players instead of just 1 when it's button small blind that calls.
Yeah, I'm sort of on the same
But-
page. I believe that most of the hands we call are going to be pocket pairs and suited aces. Here, I mean
But-
limping.
On the other hand, I am limping behind a fish and presumably another fish with a broken stack in the big blind that I am confident I can make much better post-flop decisions than they will be able to make.
That in itself is enough to go for it.
Same situation.
Oh, and what did you do?
Earlier limp with a broken stack.
This one definitely not folding.
Yeah. Never
Broken stack, bet it.
So ISO.
No, you could just limp.
You could.
I don't know why people want to ISO with these really good implied odds hands.
Okay.
No, I think the only reason is if you know the limper has a tendency to limp and then fold when raised, because you'd be happy to take down the pot. But
Oh, yeah.
I think
If you
you
have a
want.
specific-
I'm with Joey. I'm limping here unless I think that the limper is going to fold to a raise at high proportion.
Yeah, I'm on team Joey.
And generally, we should know by now, because this guy has probably limped many hands, And we've seen how he responds. And if he's a limp caller, absolutely not gonna ISO this.
And most limpers are limp callers.
And these tend to make me want to not ISO either. Like if they were full stacks, I would tend to probably lean towards ISOing more likely. But again, not that I would. Like in this instance, I did just flat, but
Yeah, I like the overlimp here.
So what
Uh,
happened? Let's
yeah.
play this
And
thing out. It's
reflecting on our
multi-way.
earlier acronym KYC,
Know your
Uh,
customer.
some
KFC.
that there are
KFC.
distinct classes. There are a lot of people who are limp folders, and there are a lot of people who are limp callers, and you got to know which one's which.
And when you find the limp caller and you have the value hands, also you be looking very specifically at what their sizing threshold is, because I have played against people whose limp frequency is in the 70 to 90% of hands. And who call up to 6x, 7x.
And also you gotta remember, especially with these broken stacks, some hands prefer to play with a high SPR and some hands prefer to play with a low SPR. Ace 2 suited is not a hand that likes to play with a low SPR.
Yes.
I'd rather fold this than play in a low SPR out of position.
Yeah, more good points.
Okay.
any leading?
No, I would check here.
Yeah, check.
Call.
Call.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I think you have to lead. I was gonna lead even without the 5. But with the 5, I think you have to lead.
Yeah. Good question. Like if that was a 9.
I was still gonna bet it.
If that was a 9, I think I'd do a blocker bet. Thin value blocker.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of river cards would be thin block, right?
It's hard to see what he's gonna call here after he donks and then checks turn.
Yeah,
Oh, why'd you check?
I was gonna go for a check raise.
I think the
No,
check is
no,
fine.
no, no.
He's a yes. Oh, sometimes yes. Sometimes no, but sometimes yes.
No, fancy play syndrome. You're planning a check raise into a player who's playing with a broken stack. What would be your first guess on this player's river bluffing frequency?
Pretty close to nil.
So you're planning a tricky play against somebody who's not going to bet often enough for that tricky play to work.
Fifty 17.
There's only 6 hands.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
I don't mind it. I think that he's capped. He was bluffing obviously on flop. And he's not, clearly he doesn't have anything.
Hmm.
He doesn't have an ace, or he would have bet it on turn. It's hard to know what he's gonna call with the bet.
Don't worry about what he's going to call with. Make the bet and let him worry about what he's calling with.
I come up with the same conclusion. I don't know if I come up with the same reasoning as Joey, but I come up with the same conclusion that it's a bet. He is so devoid of aces here with this play. But I guess that means it's got to be a really small bet because you've got to get called by 9-4 offsuit.
Yeah, he's playing, well, as Scotty says, he's playing less than any 2. He's playing the bottom half of the deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one, I think I did limp. Oh no, I ISO'd. That's right. I went for bottom of range type of bluff.
And got a crazy result.
Interesting. I kind of forgot about this. See that?
Oh, I don't know.
I believe this hand C bets 40% of the time and checks 60%. And that I believe that without a spade, you C bet it more often than you do with a spade. That's gonna be
I
my,
think it might be the opposite.
it could be.
I think we bet more with the spade.
Yep.
Paired board, I was expecting to probably get a fairly high frequency C bet if we were playing like pretty close to like whatever I did. I went with the standard like third.
Guess that's fine.
Let's look at this
Protection-
one as a blind versus blind hand. And not as a limp ISO, call hand. Who's got a solver? I have a solver.
We can look at it. What's the hand? Or you can do it. Doesn't matter. I don't
Let's look at both. That'll be fun. You set it up in GTO, I'll set it up in DTO.
care. Okay.
Well, we went to, the flop heads up.
Can we see the,
Yeah,
can we see the hand
yeah.
again, Mike?
Yeah.
I would imagine these styles are gonna be wildly different. I think blind versus blind is going to lend itself to that.
Okay, what is our flop here? Jack, Jack 5. I have a Jack, Jack 6.
Larry, you got everything you need?
Yes, thanks. So we're doing a raise call.
Yeah, raise
Yeah.
call, I think, right?
This is lovely. You're gonna like DTO's answer. I'm ready to see GTO's answer.
Okay, you go first.
Okay, well, mine's gonna be short.
Fold, pre-flop.
Bet everything.
Range bet.
And what size is it like here? I'd like some, is this like a third? It's a third, right?
It is, bet $1.50. And so they're at 50 cents a dollar. So,
How much is in the
Yeah.
pot?
we raised, so this is. The pot is, we raised, and he
$7.
called, so dollar tiny. And it's the only size they give us.
So that's 20%, right? What is that? Less than 25.
It's just
Yeah,
under
it's
20.
about 21%.
No, it's about 18%.
No, $1.40 would be 20%.
$1.40? Hold on. $1.40 times 5. You're right, I'm wrong.
So yeah, I was expecting it to be a pretty high frequency flop C bet, even with the pair.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I'm not sure how you're supposed to play. Actually, I'm not sure about anything blind versus blind, to be honest.
Yeah, you and me both.
So, yeah, it's mixing. It's mixing across its
Yeah,
entire
this
range.
is,
It has like a little bit of like checks here with this ace high. But it's mostly mixing.
yeah, this is what I expected to. And ace-5 is actually checking more than other hands.
Yeah, except it was ace 5 with a 5 on the flop. So ace 6 in this
Yeah, you
uh,
can do Jack, Jack 6. You can do Jack, Jack 5, can't you? I'm the only one who only can do Jack, Jack 6.
I can do check 5.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't
it
matter.
doesn't matter. You can just pretend the hand was ace 6.
But there you go. We'll be accurate.
Yeah, about half of the time.
And then
Yeah.
just check suits because I didn't have the back door.
Yeah, check suits, because that was the thing Joey and I disagreed on. So let's see. I say bet more with a spade. I mean,
No,
bet
you
more
said
without.
bet less.
I
You
said
said
bet
bet
more
less with
without
a
a
spade.
spade. Bet
Yeah.
more, I said bet more often without a spade. Let's see what the answer is. It looks,
Looks like the ace of spades is betting more.
all right, let's actually see this. Roll over, go over on the actual world. Let's see the numbers.
What do you mean?
So ace of spades bets, so these are our percentages, right?
Oh, you
Um,
want to see the actual
check-
percentages? Okay.
Ace of spades checks 33, the next ace of spades, just go across the three of them. 33, 52, and 52. Okay, and then then without the ace of spades, we bet. Same 52 there, so the same. 35, which is bigger than 33. 43, which is bigger than 33, so you've got two 52s and a 33. I need to pick up another
No,
52 and I'm,
Yeah.
oh no,
Um,
33, no, you bet even more. You're right. We
Can
need
we do it
higher.
this way? Let's try it this way. Yeah. Ace five, right?
Yeah.
Ace five, we check 57%.
Okay,
And then filters. No filters. Clear. How about this? Clear, exclude, sorry, exclude,
blue spades.
clear, exclude, spades,
Thank you.
ace five, check 69%.
So it bets more with a spade.
Yes.
That's more with the spade.
All right,
So, yeah. That's our first DTO versus GTO
yeah,
solve off.
yes, and
Considerably
And-
different.
it's pretty clear what I'm
And-
gonna do next month.
Yeah.
Yeah,
First of all, when you first bought it, I was disappointed that it had so few like actual solutions available.
but allow me to say, fabulous tech support. Fabulous tech support from the DTO people. And
Can I show you guys a hand?
I appreciate everything they did. Yep, and I enjoyed the month we had it.
Yeah, it's good that we saw.
And I
how it works.
appreciate you making the effort to add
Yeah.
content to this group. And YouTube, I bet you like it, so like and subscribe and comment below.
We have gotten a few comments. I respond to them so unbelievably earnestly.
Okay, what do we got here? So I think this is a live ISO and now we get two flats.
Oh,
Ooh,
Oh,
We get this is a, yeah, I think this is a called for
yeah,
pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's 100% for
Well,
that.
we saw this yesterday. We can mix, right? We looked at
Oh.
this yesterday. We could,
really?
we
no,
could,
I don't think we have any call.
Folding?
I thought we didn't have any calls in the big blind. I thought we have to,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, maybe you're right.
I think
No
we-
calls?
Wasn't there a
We have
site,
no calls? That's news.
wasn't there, didn't we look at a hand like this yesterday where we mixed, or was it a different configuration?
No way did it mix calling.
yeah, we're
to be a
we're
difference.
raise or fold. And this queens is gonna be a raise,
I would say so.
especially from the, especially in
I-
this. that's
I
against the
wouldn't
small
say
blind.
100%.
I
If
thought
it's
it
raise
was.
or fold, I wouldn't be surprised if it's folding at least 20%.
Let's
I'm
see.
going.
Hijack,
100%
right?
raise.
Hijack small blind.
Maybe because the small blind, you're in position it is small blind, maybe.
There was one spot where we looked yesterday and it mixed everything.
I gotta say, it's 0% chance of folding.
This is it, right? It was hijack
Yeah.
small blind.
Yeah, so clearly I'm wrong. It wasn't this spot.
Let's have a party. Yeah, I mean, there is a call here, but who cares?
Yeah, we could ignore that. Yeah, so it must have been a different, I think we must have been in position when we were mixing all three yesterday.
The
I-
surprising thing
Deeper
here is,
stack?
We're flatting aces here?
no, we're raising aces. It's raises
Oh, yeah, okay.
and jams.
So we're shoving kings sometimes, and shoving ace king.
Shoving, yeah. We got our shoves are here. Everything else is a raise, and the raise is healthy. It's a raise to 22.
I like the fold at jacks. That's kind of ballsy, the ace five there.
Yeah, that's, our little solver specials here that,
Actually, the raise isn't that huge compared to small blinds sizing.
you're right, he goes to 20, he goes to 12, and we basically
That's
click it.
almost a click back.
That is a
Yeah.
click.
King five suited.
Yeah,
Look at you with king five suited.
yeah.
Hey,
this is-
now, to
King-
Joey's point, like, you're not gonna get this kind of 3-bet bluffing, right? From population. So
Not
when
from
you
now.
take all of that, when you take some of that out, at least, then do we start to think about folding?
Okay, here's the,
Well,
here's the,
also,
fold
his
his
Scotty,
queen.
can you get into the 3x? Cause the open raise was 3x and how big was the 3-bet?
Yeah,
It was
uh,
3
10.
and then 10.
It was
pre-flop
yeah,
is free, so you can get,
Three
if
and-
you go to pre-flop only, I think you have to go to.
flop only, 3x.
it was actually like 3.2.
Yeah,
Okay. And I would like to whine about something now, which is the
3.3.
2.5 open charts and responses in GTO Wizard in the preflop only are different than the 2.5 in the preflop and postflop.
Yeah,
And
we-
that's the
yeah.
same rate, and I complain why, and I've asked them why, and I have not gotten an answer, and I would like to know. So that's what I would like from YouTube, is I would like someone to answer that question, because I don't like the fact that we compare the 3 to the 2.5 when the 2.5 is different from the 2.5. Having said that, hijack raises, small blind, 3 bets to 10, not 12.5. That changes everything, but it is, with that. And now our big blind is 26, and our queens are still not full.
And it's folding jacks, though.
Folding jacks, yeah.
Okay,
Still has this world of bluffs here.
the next thing to look at is equity. Is it within 10% of aces?
Okay,
No,
One down.
strategy? Yeah, there
Strategy
you go.
plus
EV.
equity,
No,
EV.
EV, I'm sorry.
plus EV.
And it's within
Yep.
10% of aces, so
Which means that, which means that you can do it even if they don't have the bluffs.
right. When it's outside of 10% of aces, you can fold it conditionally based on the theory that the small blind is not 3-betting as wide as they should.
Right.
But if you're folding anything within the 10% of aces, that's really pushing it.
Gotcha. Okay, good. So so if they're missing a lot of these 3 bets here, then then we take this range and we say everything, you've got to have at least 3.5. So we don't bluff back now.
Okay.
They're not bluffing, we don't bluff back, and we don't
Like-
play ace queen, and we don't
Boy,
play.
how do you ascertain this in game though?
Well, does your
You
population?
don't, you just have to look at a lot of solves and like
And decide what kind of player they are.
try to figure it.
Let's see.
It's done by looking at hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of solves and trying to pick up a pattern.
Does your population bet king nine suited here?
No,
3-bet king
From the
nine
big
suited?
blind?
Like,
Oh,
I
is
don't
it-
see stuff like that. I don't see
No.
like.
Nope.
I'm not seeing king 7 suited, king 6
Nope.
suited, king 8 suited.
Oh, people are not picking that up. You're gonna see some of this, though. You're still gonna see this.
Yeah, I'll see that, but I'll never see like king 6 suited.
But here's the really interesting thing on the 10% of aces. That turns ace king offsuit to a fold in this situation. Really? You really want to go, you want to defend that, Joey?
I was looking at that.
To quote Louis, it's the church.
Okay, how are you seeing that? Like ace king offsuit has 2.3% equity. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, 2.23% EV, expected
When
value.
you're called. When you
Yeah.
get called? Is that
No, just
that's what
against
that
their
number is?
ranges, just against their pair of ranges.
Oh, so with ace king offsuit, you're shoving all in with 2.3% equity?
No, with 2.23 EV, with your expected value is to win 2.23 chips on this over time.
Okay, so it will win. You'll be 2.23 chips
Ahead
richer,
per hand.
even though
You-
you bet 100.
Alright, so
Okay.
if you're four betting a range that only contains jacks plus and ace king, what is the lower hand of that?
No, you meant not four betting. If you're only, you're looking to three better.
Yeah,
you
if
three
he's
better,
only three betting jacks plus and ace king,
then ace king's a fold.
yeah,
Yes. He's gotta have. He's gotta at least have the ace queens in there. Okay,
One thing to check, Scotty, is there a smaller three bet size option?
no,
Yeah,
not
let's
in
go for
this
it.
configuration.
opening size 3x, three bet size,
It doesn't have it.
doesn't have it.
It
Yep.
doesn't even have the option.
Okay,
Matthew,
Good.
are you still here?
all right, I'm
Here,
back. We're
Yeah,
back to
so so I was gonna ask like on small blind, I don't know if you wanna
Oh, wait, let's go back to Larry's hand.
Yeah, we are. But still ask your question, Escape.
Yeah, so like my question was like since I'm looking forward to play more live, Matthew, and since Matthew I think is one of the only ones that plays kind of live and online in the small blind against that like late position open, what do you think what hands do you think people are three betting there?
Skate, I play live all the time.
Oh, and Joey, sorry.
So, would I expect a small blind to have? In reality,
Yeah,
jacks plus and ace king sometimes.
Yep, I concur.
okay.
wow, I think they're wider than that. I think there's
Maybe
ace queens. I think there's tens and jacks sometimes. Yeah, I am four betting my queens here pure.
Really?
And what about suited Broadway, like some good players do in tournaments? Are you seeing that in the stakes you're playing, like suited Broadway, like suited tens for Queen Jack suited or
No,
Ace ten suited?
I don't think I mean, rarely it happens, but I would not see that as a default play. Certainly ace king suited, ace queen suited, maybe ace jack suited, but not queen jack suited, queen 10 suited.
And it also
Huh,
depends on the
okay.
player.
Oh, definitely depends on the
You'll-
player. Definitely.
You'll get some players in the small blind that three bet just because they've had enough of this guy. They could have 7-3 suited in three bet because they just feel like three bet in this hand. So it's really not like, and sometimes you can't even pick that out until you see it once or twice. But for the most
Mm.
part, it's an honest three bet, and most people only do it with premium hands. Not everyone. You will see people wider, but from the small blind, I don't think they three bet often enough at all.
Do you think that do you think that it is, not everybody, but do you think that it is common for them to find the ace five suited three bet bluff?
I think it's rare, but it happens.
Maybe
Okay.
30, maybe 25% of the players might find it.
Okay,
Fair. I concur.
good
Okay.
enough. All right, let's play
But
the
in
hand.
live, you'll see a lot more calling from the small blind than you should really see.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the population still believes calling the small blind for a discount is better than three bet bluffing.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I.
Jack ten suited is not folding in the small blind and is not bluffing either. Jack ten suited, queen 10
Okay.
suited, queen jack suited are all calling.
All right, let's see what happens here. So I called four.
Yay,
Gonna fold, gonna flat, not the flop we're looking
Oh.
for. Now it gets weird. Ladies and gentlemen, we're having one big blind donk.
treat it as a check.
What are
Oh.
you guys doing here?
Call.
I might check behind with pocket queen, so I'm just calling.
Yep, just call.
So what do you
The
think is composed of a one big blind dunk here?
Bad aces. And hands that want to see whether you have an ace, and they're going to try to knock you. And if you don't raise them, are going to say, by the river, you don't have an ace, and are going to beat on you. But if you see it as bet, bet 3 in a row, all one big blind, I think you're going to beat. I think you're facing ace 4.
Yeah, so this looks to me like a lot of very fishy. Where am I at?
Yes.
But that doesn't mean you have to raise everything.
You're
Okay.
marginally made. You're marginally made. He's making
What-
it cheap.
What part of your range are you gonna raise here?
I would probably raise everything. Like ace 10 or better. Anything that missed, but any nines, I would just call. Any pocket pairs between the ace and the 9, I would just call. I don't know about like 7s and 8s, but I don't think 7s and 8s are in our 4-bet range.
They're not
So you're gonna
really.
value
I don't-
raise.
I don't think they are either, but I would certainly call if for some reason I got here with 7s, because you're getting odds to draw to a set.
Yeah,
So you're
I
value raising ace 10 and above. Everything you're gonna. What do you do with ace king?
Hold on, go back. We don't have ace 10 and above. We have ace queen offsuit, ace king offsuit, and ace king suited. And then we have a little bit of ace 3, ace 4, ace 5 suited. That's what we have. We cold forward.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I
It's-
almost feel like I would probably see bet this almost. Geez, almost pure with our range. Like
I don't have-
it would be like 20%, 25, 20% even, like small, like $12.
I
I
would
th-
see bet everything but the marginal made hands.
So I think in a cult 4, we're gonna, if we put this in solve, we're going to bet a lot here. Because of what our cult 4 range is composed of. Including betting queens here.
So I'm not gonna raise this. I'm almost never gonna raise this, and here's why. Combination of things. One, the board is so dry and has no flush draws, and he never has the deuce 4, deuce 5. 4-5 here.
Mhm.
Is what I'm gonna say. Yes, never is never, doesn't mean never. And yes, he can have 4 or 5 suited. I don't want to talk about that. It's 4 outs. I don't care. If he's going to do this as a where am I, and he's going to continue to bet when I've got my ace, king, and ace, queen, which are my good aces, I don't want to stop him. And I block his ace. When I have my bad aces, my ace 4, ace 5, ace 3 that I did this with, I don't want to raise. Well, ace 3, okay. But my ace 4, my ace 5, I don't want to. I don't want to with my kings or my queens. And so it looks to me like I don't want to raise this with anything. And the only thing I guess I want to raise it with are my pure bluffs. And do I really want to raise it with my king 10, king 9, king 8 suited that missed?
And also the only hand I can, well, does he 5-bet kings? We're just
He
call
should.
kings. He should, but that doesn't mean he will.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I would
The
shove
only
kings here.
hand I could see you
But-
getting benefit from raising would be if he's doing this with pocket kings and you raise, he's like, oh, he has the ace.
And the only thing, and you benefit from raising when you have nothing on your bluffs,
Right.
which are just for you. You have some suited king bluffs. So
So this hand falls into the marginal territory, but the question then becomes. If he had checked like 98% of the population is here. Are you going to see bet your queens on this texture?
no,
I would.
I'm not.
I think solver does. From just looking at 4-bet pots. we can look at this. I think this is solvable, but if you guys
I
want,
I think Somber does, but I think in population, he might have a few more aces than. Like if he did this with like a small ace, he should be folding it some percentage at a time. But I think in population, like if he did this with ace three as a bluff, I don't think he ever folds that.
well, ace three's two pair. He's not going to.
Or I mean ace four then, ace four suited then.
Yeah. So I think you guys are right. I chose a different path, but I think I raised this because I should be betting this in theory at a very high clip with my entire range. I think
That's where I'm with you there.
Yeah,
in a cold four bet pot, and I got the fold. But
Yeah.
the question really is,
I
my
think you-
argument here. I think you guys make very good arguments. My argument is this is essentially a check, just a retarded check. Sorry, YouTube, we're not supposed to use that word anymore.
You're not supposed to use check?
Yes. We're not supposed to use check. I'm treating this as a check, and I, in theory, should be betting this at a high clip.
Okay.
But
let's run it in Somber real quick.
let me
We
see.
can't three bet pot. It's a four bet free, with multi-way.
I think we can because it went well.
It goes to the flop heads up, so maybe we can.
All
I
right, give it a
thi-
try.
I'm-
Give it a try.
Well, let me see if I can set it up, and then I'll.
Okay, and while you set it up, I'm gonna say, I think what you just succeeded in doing was getting a hand that had almost no outs against you to fold.
There's not much value in that. Yeah, I agree.
I think that's what I
Right,
think
see, and
happened.
that's why I like your logic, but I reach a different conclusion. I would treat his one big blind bet as a check, and so I would check behind, because I'm not gonna bet that. Because if I'm ahead, I'm way ahead, and if I'm behind, I'm way behind. I'm on defense. I want to get to showdown as cheaply as possible.
And the only card I don't wanna see is I don't wanna see a king.
Right, and that there's only four. The odds
Right,
that
and
you
when
hit
he
a
has a
king are
king, there's
pretty
only,
slim.
and when he has a king, there's only three.
You don't want
Right.
to see a jack, you don't want to see a 10, right?
I don't mind seeing a jack or a 10.
I mean,
I'm
I
not
wouldn't
bad
love
at
it.
it.
Not my favorite card, but whatever. I can
You
deal
can
with
have
it.
pocket
I'm
jacks
still
and
seeing
pocket-
showdown.
but- Yeah,
All right. Okay. Here we go. So let me share this. All right. So in theory, this is supposed to be his calling range. He's supposed to call if he gets here with these pocket pairs. He's supposed to call. He's supposed to have odds to call the set line at 100 big blinds.
Okay.
Ace queen is a huge part of it. I always think of queens as being a large part of this range for people. I think people are calling king queen
mhm.
suited here a lot.
Oh, yeah.
In this situation, when it's a queen high flop, I think it's really good for the flatter. So he's obviously, he doesn't have any donks. He does have 1.6%, but he checks. Essentially what he did. Now, I think that we bet at a very high clip here with our
Yeah, that's-
range.
I'm on queen, check.
Yeah, we just bet. We just bet a lot
Okay.
here.
All right,
Look at small. It's very small.
yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we bet
Do
10%.
do the 10% bet for him, because he did have a couple. I know he didn't bet 10% would have been like 5 instead of 1, but
Next, we wanna, yeah.
So you got some raises.
What do we do with, so when we face this, which is super rare, but let's just go through it real quick. Best hands mix, everything's mixing. We have bluffs across our entire range. Actually, probably call this, calls us a weekend. So these are weekends. So if it's a weekend, I like raising it more. So, yeah, we can make my aggressive play at some frequency.
Yep.
All right, guys. I
But
just
what
thought it
it-
was
what it
interesting.
really saying, the thing I look at this though, and I get from this, it's slow play your aces because he doesn't have an ace. Fast play your ace king because you're ahead of all his aces. And slow play, not slow play, and then check and hope you have the best hand with kings and queens and jacks and ace queen and ace nine and and the ace eight and the ace nine is a half trap. So I'm going to simplify this and look at most of the hands that are mostly calling and make them 100% calls, and the ones that are mostly betting make them 100% bets, which is
Yeah.
the
That makes sense. That makes sense. All right, I'll hand it back to the next victim.
all right.
King's here. King's always got good hands. Hey, King.
You got a hand king? We'll let you get organized.
I can get one in a matter of a couple of minutes here. I just
You
joined
get
up.
one in a couple minutes. I'll just put up the next three-way hand in the list of three-way hands that I want
Any
you to-
specific area we're looking at? Are we looking at like,
You got
like
three-
tough turn calls, or say any
anything you wanna
specific
put up-
thing?
Yeah, anything you want to put up, but we're looking at but multi-way is preferred,
Okay, gotcha.
but we'll look at anything today. All right.
Understood.
We looked at this one already. So next multi-way hand. This is the $200 game, the regular $200 game. We have actual stats. What should happen? Jack queen suited should open. King nine suited has got some three bets and some folds against that. I'm going to conclude, and the eights should just call against the open. But what's going to happen is the king nine suited is going to call, and against that call, I think the eights are correct to pure call and do almost no raising. And I say that because that's me, and that's what I'm sure I did. So let's confirm some of that before going on. We have the GTO wizard. We have the hijack raise, and let's get down to the sizing was the 2.5. So change to the regular
Yeah,
six.
don't do
Post
flip
flop.
flop only.
Right, that's what I'm doing. Post flop, 100 big blinds, 2.5, everything is normal. Hijack opens with his
Ugh.
queen jack suited, obviously, comes up to the cutoff, who has no flatting range. King nine was a little too loose there. The button,
Flatten the button.
that's what we're going to put him for the thing. But I said the king nine suited might do some raising, but mostly folding, and I was wrong. It's king 10 and it's all.
Yeah.
So good to know. We get that. Having seen this though, in the big blind, I think the eights are almost a pure call. No folds at all. And almost no raises. Come on, baby. Okay. Close enough. Almost a pure call, almost no raises. I feel good about what happens here. Paul, I feel good about that. All right. I'm going to check range here according to DTO Wizard. We will find out according to DTO Plus, or whatever the name of it, the DTO tool is. We will find out in another month what other tools say, but for now I'm checking range. On a board of 9-6-2 rainbow, I think he can be the low jack or the cutoff in our test. But I think he has very little betting, if any, on this board. I think this is not one of the boards where he gets to bet much at all. So I think he should check. He does. And I think that this guy now bets all top pairs and better. And he should bet here, especially with his back door. He does. Eights with an 8 of hearts. Heads up would call. Multi-way. I don't know. I expect that they call. In the solver, I expect I folded. Nope, I called.
I think you call there. Yeah, I think that's a call.
Yeah, heads up, it's a definite call. And I don't think it's a raise. And the jack queen now with his backdoor and 2 overs in a multi-way pot. think to this sizing, this is pretty close to the right side. think he, I think he mostly folds this. There we go. The deuce, I check again. King nine can continue to bet. He gets value from hearts. He's only afraid of ace nine. I don't have to have ace nine. I can have 9, 10, and 9 jack and pay him off. He should still bet. According to DTO, he should bet 15 big blinds. So he bets half pot. And at half pot, I can lose more money and fold or fold now. I lose against his, he has no deuces in his range, so the deuce doesn't help him. I block the 7-8. I think I fold
Block.
now.
You block 8, 9.
Yeah, I fold now. I block 8-9, but what I mean is I block his draw. I block the 7-8 and the 8-10 that he could have done this as a draw.
And you block hearts too.
And I do a little blocking of hearts, so I think it's time to fold. But I don't listen to myself. And at least now it's easy to fold. Check, bet, half pot again because that's the size that he knows, and now I just have to fold. But I don't because I don't
Oh,
play.
no.
Yeah,
The
that's-
turn, I was like, eh.
Yeah.
But this is,
I think Scotty today is a better player than Scotty that day. All right. Let's look at our tool. All
My
right.
prediction, your flop call is good. The turn call, I think, is gonna mix. I think you block a lot of his value and you unblock a lot of his natural bluffs.
I think the turn call is going to be a pure fold because it's going to be a pot size bet, not a half pot bet.
Yeah, make that a pot size bet. It's a fold for sure.
Yeah, and I would have folded to a pot size bet. So like that. All right.
Yeah.
3 players. Let's do the low jack version first. The flop is 9-6 deuce. So other texture, other, it should, yeah, 9-6 deuces. We'll just call it all. And suits, it was suited. Let's see if we have anything like this. 9-6-5, pretty close.
Yeah, it works.
no, that's
Oh, we don't, that's got a
connected.
straight. That's got a straight. 9-5-4, we don't get the same thing exactly, but it's not terrible.
9-7-3.
9-7-4. 9-7-3. We have a 9-7-3?
The one right next to it's 9-7-3.
Okay, 9-7-3. I like 9-7-3. Okay, 9-7-3. So, as we said, big blind has a range check. Low jack on this board, I think, has very few bets. That's what I said. I feel good about that.
Yeah, he would have had like queen jack of diamonds here.
Yep.
Or no. He had the back door. So he would have
This
had
guy.
No, the villain 56 had the back door queen jack.
Yeah, right. So he checked, right. He's this guy. And so his queen jack backdoor is going to be the queen jack of spades. A little bit of betting. He chose the check. Totally reasonable. How many people do you think who do this stuff now on Zoom have adopted so many Jonathan Littles, not just trying to emulate his logic, but also his speech patterns? Because I find myself saying totally reasonable and standard.
I think it
Well-
just kind of rubs off on people. whether it's
I just, I
conscious
hear
or
myself
not.
saying it. I'm not sure that he would say it in this situation, but if he were to say it, those are the words he'd use. All
As
right.
long as you don't start saying, you gotta know.
Well, we have, no one has yet done, I hate to break it to you.
Yeah, yeah, that's the
Or
one.
if you could look at your opponent and just know,
Yes.
Hate to break it to you, but multi-way is hard.
And if you
Okay.
guys love Little as much as we do, please comment and subscribe with your favorite Littleism.
Oh my gosh. So I saw, so we have a, what looked to be like a list of followers it was either on Discord or on YouTube. I don't remember which. And it looked like Jonathan Little Poker was one of them. I went, oh, and then I realized, no, that's me following him.
Oh, close.
It's not
That
wrong.
wouldn't surprise me though, man. Like there's not a very there's not a large amount of reputable study groups out there. And like this server as a whole has some of the higher quality study groups out there. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay. So,
Yeah,
he
that's
doesn't-
the issue with this range.
yeah, he doesn't have king nine.
Cutoff button might have king nine.
Yeah, we'll get it there. But of his nines, his ace nine, his 10-9, they bet.
So
And
he's
up-
betting top pair and he
and he
doesn't
bets
get
half,
those.
he's betting half the time. He bets all his, I said he bets all of his top pair. Stop it. Here we go. So I think he bets all of his top pair. And so we see very little checking in the nines and top pair and better, but not in the tens, not in the jacks, not in the queens. So yeah. His sevens, he is not betting the little bit of that he has of it. His three, he is a little bit, but so is he, is his four. So this is just a bluff. Sets, yes, 100%. And he can bet eights. He bets eights with a diamond more than he bets eights without a diamond. Okay. So he bets. We in the big blind with our eights. Let's see it.
Call.
100% call. We don't need a heart. In this case, we don't need a diamond. Just 100% call.
Backdoor straights enough.
More than a backdoor straight's enough, it looked like. Looked like maybe just a pair is enough. No. Pair is not enough. Yep. A pair bigger than sevens and backdoor straight. We don't know which is the more important thing, but it's there. All right.
Well,
So
it's
we
probably
call-
something with the combined equity.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure queen jack spades folds pure. Oh, they do.
Yep. With the diamond draw, with the real draw, you've now got, you have no
Yeah.
folding. You've got some check raises.
Can you scroll over ace nine suited? Let's see if we're check raising pure. So if
Only
we have top pair. Front door, we're check raising pure.
You need diamonds. Yeah. You don't fold any of them. You need diamonds. Same thing, just right down there. A nine is enough. You don't fold, you fold no nines at all.
So it wants to check raise all the FDs.
All the flush draws with a top pair. All the
Yeah,
flush
yeah.
with it. You can't have it with a set, and you can't have it with any other pair.
Okay.
So now real FDs, just pure FDs. Mix call. You don't fold them ever. Mix calls and folds. Let's go to.
I'm sorry, what position are we in the spot that we're looking at
This
here?
is now the initial raiser.
Low
Okay.
jack.
Okay,
This is a low-
understood.
After
Gotcha.
the big blind has called.
Understood.
Right, okay, so that's that. We'll go forward one more. He folds. We pick up the
Pair of three.
three pairs, and it pairs off suit. Okay. We check, there's no chance we bet eights. We check range. He, I think, continues to bet all his, does he slow down any nines? He slowed down some nines. But he bets his ace nine, which in this case is a king nine. And
Well,
we just have,
Yeah, he doesn't bet it pure.
oh, we have it, he has a half pot bet.
No,
Yeah.
that just made it.
That's the size, yeah, I saw it. Okay, and we with our eights,
Mixing.
you just take the diamond. You call, so I wasn't wrong. I don't like it. And to the half pot, it wasn't wrong.
Why do we want to use the diamond to call here? I'm not quite clear.
Oh, I know the answer.
Yeah.
Blockers, move on quick before anybody thinks about it.
Yep.
I have no idea. I would want to not have a diamond now. Oh, wait, no, I do know. It is a blocker. It's a blocker to the flush coming in when he has his flush draw.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
On the river, if the flush comes in, I would like to have it because I would like him to not have a flush draw. But mainly when he's on a flush draw that I'm beating, it comes in less often.
That's what makes total sense.
That's more important than putting it in his hand. So he's got, because as Louis says on the turn, a flush draw is value on the turn, which I think is bad language. But what he means is a flush draw has so much equity and my diamond lowers that equity. Blah, blah, blah. So I called. I feel less bad about this. And there's no river to show how wrong I was on the river. I was wrong on the river. But that's that tool. Now let's go look at it in the cutoff situation and then move on. And then by now, King, you should have a hand up and ready. You've had plenty of time.
Oh yeah, I got a couple.
Okay, good. All right, here we go. Same thing. Look at the cutoff tool. We are the
Well-
9, 8, 4. 9, 6. We did it. Let's see what we have for our nines. We don't have as many nines here for this. So the closest one we can do,
None of
Nothing.
them will be really good.
there's nothing good here.
Yeah, no.
We could simulate it with the 8, 6 and give me pocket 7s and everything changes and let's just
No,
move on.
that's
with-
still a connected
Yeah,
board.
it's connected. We could,
Nothing's worth trying to force an answer out of it.
no, if we bump it up to a 10, we don't even get a 10, we're done. Okay. You're up.
I'm up.
You're up.
Something to real quick about that Prometheus is that you are able to select any flop you want.
Great.
Yeah, there was no limitation on the types of flops.
Okay.
Okay, so I found a couple of here, or I actually pulled up two. This one I think is going to be closer. The second one I have, I think, is much more of a misplay from me, but this one I think is a little bit closer. So we got an open limp, and we get a min click raise, and we're on the button here with pocket 5s. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to raise here. And I just call, and this looks really bad. So maybe this is completely misplayed too. This feels like a
I
mistake.
don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think this is terrible.
Okay. Okay. Just, I mean, I'm expecting the LFI player to call, and big blind is getting a really good price. So basically, I mean, you're basically looking to hit a set here, and anything else is basically junk, right? But I guess that there's good implied odds to be had here. So,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
I'm
Fair
fine
enough.
with that. As long as you are rarely, that you are not setting yourself up for a squeeze from the big blind and the small blind, if they're not typical squeezers. And I
Sure.
don't think you have a lot of squeezes from your hijack.
Actually,
hand.
I had a
I think-
lot of hands from big blind, and he's actually 3-betting a lot. 3-bet. Oh, that looks actually kind of linear by position. I think that's just a function
I'm
of.
jealous. 19 3-bet?
Yeah. Okay. So here it is by
I gotta
position.
start working on my 3-bets then.
Oh, hey, Joey, next month, let's do some hand reviews of your hands and get in some 3-bet trouble. Let's do like, whether they're face up or not. Let's just sort your database, if you don't mind, for when
I
you
don't have
3-bet.
that many hands in an online database. I've been playing a lot of live.
Okay, well, if you've got what you got that you want to share, let's do it. If you're not, that's fine.
So
Take a look.
how does, so you're on GG Poker, which is anonymized when you download the hand histories, right?
No. Oh, sorry. Yes. Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
So how
So-
do you know that these hard stats are good?
It tracks it by player. So, okay. So at the table on GG, I only have access to its VPIP, PFR, 3-bet, and attempt to steal. There's only 4 numbers I can see. It's yeah, that's what it is. VPEP, PFR, 3-bet, and attempt to steal. This is my Poker Tracker 4 HUD. When I import hands from PokerCraft, it will apply it to these hands, looking at it in hand review. But in game, I only have access to VPEP, PFR, 3-bet, and attempt to steal, which are these three numbers right here, the 24,
So how
the
do you know
19,
that
the 19.
814 doesn't include hands from an 7 blah 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 814 from 3 months ago?
Well, his hands are the same. Looks like they've both been here for 168 hands. You've been at this
Oh,
table.
It
that-
it
Oh, I see.
will. It would include from every hand I've ever played, but if I go session stats, okay, this is just from the same table.
Okay.
So no, it
I
it
see your
abs-
point.
I
Okay,
can toggle that though.
Okay, so these are session sets.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
got it. Thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, limp, min click, call, and we go to a flop. I hit my sets. 6-5-3. There's 2 diamonds out here. I have no diamond, and we have absolute position. Okay, so this is the limper. Oh, this is such a goofy hand. I mean, I didn't look at any of this action beforehand, but this is typical. So he comes in with the 1 big blind donk, the 1 big blind lead, essentially. Like, there's no way to look at this in solver. This is just ridiculous, but I think there's still value.
Yeah,
And we see a raise here, which I think is very, very typical. If I'm Bravo Delta 2, I'm making this raise a lot of the time as well. Thoughts? Should I continue? Should I show? Should I?
I would flat personally.
Yeah, I get behind them. I also I actually lean towards fast play here. A little bit more multi-way.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
I
I think
think-
Mike has, I think I mean, who knows what your equity is, but your equity is really high. It is a wettish board,
Oh, it's
I would
very
ch-
wet in my mind, very wet. With the big blind range in play, absolutely.
which I think allows you to fast play at a higher, at a greater clip because there's more
I agree.
hands
I
that
agree with you.
call.
Yep.
I would probably fast play this multi-way. I think there's room to slow play it heads up, but
Why are
this
you not
multi-way, I would
considering
fast play
raising?
this.
Why are you not considering raising here?
he is.
Oh, so I will say I definitely do raise at a very significant frequency. I don't remember my exact thought process in this exact spot, but it's definitely a mix. I'm mixing and raising. I'm mixing and flatting here. I
would
really like the
call.
argument for a raise.
I would call because I think most of the time in solver, from this position after the bet came from BD2, I think we're going to be calling a lot and have
Yep.
very few raises.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Why
I
is
can see that.
Joey? Why is that?
The middle position player has always had very few aggressive actions.
Yeah. He has
Oh,
like none. He has like no aggressive actions, really.
Wait a minute,
Well,
do
you're
we keep-
talking about in theory in what we've seen in DTO, is that correct?
Yeah,
But I have a question. Are we the
Oh,
middle?
sorry.
Do we count as the middle now?
yes.
Okay,
Yeah, we're not closing the action.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So like, what do you make of this 1 big blind nonsensical lead? This was the
ignore it.
open. Okay.
Ignore-
That's what I
it-
figured.
yeah.
That's how I was treated. Ignore it. Okay. I like that. I like it.
Ignore it and then get the extra little bit of, and then the extra little bit about it is that you can be pretty sure he's gonna call this raise. That you're gonna
Yeah.
get 2 players. If you don't want 2 players, then gives you more of a reason to 3-bet, because
Yeah.
he's gonna call the very high clip.
Honestly,
call
I
it-
think I like a raise better than just flatting here in retrospect, but I think there's a strong merit to both. I really do.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, the worst card.
Like,
Come.
I know,
One
I
of
know,
the
like,
worst-
that's why you like
the
to
worst
raise, right?
card.
But, so
a
we
7
are,
of hearts, 7 of
gotta-
diamonds, but it's pretty bad.
That's
Yeah.
Pair
pretty
up, baby,
bad.
pair up.
so, like, what a goofy line.
Yeah,
Look at this nonsense. Like, my
Yes.
God. Comes out with 3 big blinds. Okay, so we got a fold from cut. Like,
I don't think you need to raise this.
Yeah, I didn't. I
You
didn't.
don't need.
No. I'm happy just to kind of,
This
like, this
changes
is just such nonsense, right?
Yeah, let's see what size he bets.
Ugh.
Oh. Oh,
Yes.
Easy
The
fold, to be
Brazilian.
honest.
oh,
I feel like it's an easy fold, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
This is the line I was talking about earlier. One big blind shove.
yeah.
Okay. What do you think? What do you think's behind it? Like,
Pure evil.
Yeah, I don't think you can call really.
no, I think you guys are right. I mean, I will say I did call. We will get to see what happened here. I
So
think it's
let-
a bad
before-
call.
Before you
But-
get the reveal, let's also talk about origin ranges, right? So this is a unique situation where his origin range, to use a Peter Clark term, sorry, Jonathan, is all over the board, right?
What does
Mhm,
origin
mhm.
range
He has
mean?
got board coverage.
Yep.
Say it again, sorry.
What does origin range mean?
It's a term from a different poker teacher. And it means what is the range that he started with? And does it
Okay.
have the nuts on this board? Does he
Yeah,
have,
he's-
does he have
He's
the
an
nut?
open limper.
Yeah, does he have the nut advantage? And the answer is yes, he does.
Yep. Yep, you're
Basically,
right.
it's a fancy way of saying his pre-flop range.
Oh no, I understand completely. And no, you're absolutely right. He's an open limper. He came out with that goofy 1 big blind lead, that 3 big blind turn bet. It's a clear fold in retrospect. I'll show it here. I called. He open limps with 5 deuce offsuit and gets there with the straight. But
Oh,
Wow.
I know it's stupid. It's stupid, but like I think that was a really interesting hand actually to look at because it's like sort of that, like the Netherlands of nonsensical lines that we all find ourselves in that you can't really look at in solvers, right? But it's very much like a real hand that we all see.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
And-
yeah, I think the one takeaway is that, does he have the board coverage with his range to get here?
I probably talked myself into calling from not holding a diamond and him just trying to like to me this overbet here, it's like either he's open limping with some nonsense ace, hits some 2-pair ace, some ace 3, ace 4 nonsense or whatever.
It's
Like
tough
I
to
can
fold a
see
stack.
him trying to like push me off of the hand here, right? A 2 diamond combo, ace deuce with the ace of diamonds, something like that. Like
this evil guy also blocks your quads. How annoying. Takes
Yeah.
away outs on the turn.
but I think we all
Period.
agree river play is to fold here, right? I mean, like really, how often is he actually showing up with a deuce? He shouldn't be limping much deuce X, but it's in there and he showed up with it this time. So, I mean, it can't be ignored, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
so
the
what
thing.
we'll do, take the following general thing that we've learned from other people's mass data analysis, which is the overbet on the river is in a GTO world is allowed to have more bluffs than a pot size bet. The bigger your bet, the more bluffs
Yeah.
that you have bought yourself. And
Yeah.
the population plays the opposite. The bigger the
Okay.
bet, the fewer the bluffs. Doesn't mean this is
Okay.
never a bluff. We've seen people do this against me when we watch every single hand face up. But mass data analysis tells us that this spot is underbluffed for its size. When people
Okay, sure.
underbluff, you can overfold, but underbluffed, unfortunately, includes 2-pair in their value range that you beat. That's your problem here.
I was just gonna
You
ask,
can-
like, is there some value in bluff catching here? Like, is this a call at some percentage of the time, do you think, or is it just slam dunk fold 100% of the time?
I think you do it with your hand value, which is fold every ace here of your own because you
Mhm.
don't any of his 2-pairs. So fold ace king here, ace king of diamonds against this.
Oh, for
or
sure.
You feel like an idiot. So fold ace king of diamonds,
No, for
but-
sure.
right? So you're going to overfold those because the solver's going to call some of those. The solver's going to call some ace here. So you fold all those. Fold all your pocket pairs, 7s to aces, and the solver might call some of those. That's your overfold.
Okay, well, 7 is a
And-
straight, but
I'm never folding
are you
sevens
saying-
here.
you're
I
saying
meant
8
seven, I
plus?
said sevens. We're never folding sevens here, of course.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I
I
follow.
was-
I follow. I'm
Yeah,
with you.
I was, yeah. And we're not folding deuces here,
Yeah, okay.
which we
Okay.
don't have. But, so fold all that and then say that, so we're not bluff catching now, ever. No bluff catching on this.
Sure.
Now we are value mistake catching. Which is, his value are deuces, sevens, 2 pairs,
Yeah,
and overplayed aces. He gets to win with his overplayed ace, but we're gonna bluff catch against his 2 pairs, I guess, and this beats the 2 pairs. So you would
Yeah.
call your sets and maybe your ace 6, ace 5, maybe. That would be
Okay.
my, what do you guys think about
I
that?
don't know, do 2 pairs bet on a 4-liner? Do 2 pairs 2x shove on a
Thi-
4-liner?
I don't know.
normally no, but it's just like, I think this line is very, very sus. Like, I see this line a lot where it's just like, this is clearly a weak player. He's not sizing properly on any street. And then this ace comes on the river and this overbet jam. He's just trying to scare me off of the hand, right? Like, I see that a
My-
lot. I mean, it wasn't the case here, but do you
My
know what I'm?
history with this type of line, it's the nuts.
It usually will be, yeah, for sure. No, I hear you, but I mean, I see it with nonsense a lot too. Like,
This was the Brazilian. We saw the Brazilian.
yeah, this guy is Canadian for the record. I'm in an Ontario pool, but I hear you.
You don't know where his family's from.
I know. I hear you.
Okay.
Can we keep with
Well,
the
his
theme?
username is
One-
very Brazilian.
What were you gonna say, Matt? Sorry, what did you say, Mike?
Oh, I was gonna say, if we want to keep with the theme, I have a hand.
Okay,
Okay.
you're all
This
Cool.
theme that we're doing right
Good.
now.
All right.
I've only ever showed you guys hands that I find from my spew filter, by the way. I promise I do win hands sometimes.
Oh, the spew filter is the most, is the most entertaining of
Yeah,
filters.
exactly. That's my thinking.
Okay.
But also, you can learn a lot by reviewing the hands you won.
Oh yeah, I do that too, for sure. Absolutely.
Mike,
Alright,
can
here
you
we-
make the table bigger? Thanks.
Yeah, I'm about at my limit there. Okay. Ace 2 suited. This guy has been reasonable. Don't know that we've gotten into any blind versus blind. Still fairly early, but you know, he's got those numbers here.
I like a raise.
Never fold, that's easy.
I think I randomize, and my randomizing suit is usually hearts. So I would 3-bet this one this time.
Okay.
So you're 3-betting like 25% of the time? That's how the randomization works out in terms of actual how often you're actually doing it?
Well, it depends. If I want to randomize 50% and choose hearts as my main suit, I would do it with any red, with 2 red cards.
Okay.
So this is
This-
this randomization, I believe, small blind versus big blind in GTO Wizard is about 25%. With the ace deuce suited, we never fold it.
Okay.
And that's my memory.
Cause
will
it's like
look-
about a coin flip for me, like with this large stack and small blind, I'm gonna 3-bet about half the time and I'm gonna flat about half the time. Personally.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
are you gonna coin flip every single hand in the range? Or are you
No,
gonna
no,
have
no, no.
some? Okay,
No, I just mean this exact spot with this exact combo with these exact stacks at play.
yeah, I think 25% is closer.
That's probably accurate.
It's, the exact number is 17%.
Okay,
By the way, I just looked it up, but I remembered it as 25 because that's the only number I know.
sweet.
Yep. I flatted.
Sure. Oh, this hand just got easy.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Never raising.
No,
course.
slam dunk call.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's a good
Really
card.
interesting. I like calling, to be honest.
I would consider some raising, but I think the call is better.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess this polarizing size, I think a call is better.
Yeah.
Is that a
Why-
polarizing size with these stacks?
I raise here. I don't see why you guys are calling.
You can raise. We're all considering that a raise is good. It's just,
Yeah,
are you 100% of the time, Derek? Or just always?
Pretty much, like I raise quite a bit because like I think my player pool calls way too much.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's,
fine.
but
I'm happy to play double the stakes. Put it that way.
sure.
this player has very, very solid stats, so I would assume that he's not veering off of GTO by a
Yeah.
ton.
Can you bring up the stacks again?
Yeah, I can't see stats on this guy.
Oh, okay. All right. Fine. No, it's okay.
Oh, there we are. Oh, yeah,
18,
okay.
16? Yeah.
He's
Pip of
very
18.
solid.
He's
Three
on the
bets,
tighter
13.
side.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. He's not my typical player that I play against.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yep. Good enough.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I
call.
would I would call against
Right.
this
Yep.
player.
I'm gonna
he
do.
is
I'm gonna change
absolutely
my.
untapped also.
I'm gonna change my mind and say call here, based
I
on
like
what
it.
Joey said.
No, we're all in the same boat, I think.
Yep.
All in the
And
same
we expect
mindset.
if he has one pair, we expect if he has one ace, if he just has an ace now, like ace, queen, ace 10, that he might check the river and we'll bet it. And if he bets healthy, we will probably call it. And if he bets 200 if he bets 94 big blinds, then we know that he has it because this is the same as
Yep.
the hand before.
I
we have
think you're
context.
spot on. Spot on. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Fold. I fold. He's got pocket sevens. Pocket sevens is my guess.
Oh, I don't
Everyone's
wanna-
folding.
Oh, I fold in a
This is
heartbeat.
painful. This is
Slam
painful.
dunk fold, insta fold for me.
oh,
Annoying, but it is what it is. He might have ace king, but I think he's got pocket sevens.
I don't know, blind versus blind. I don't know if I could find a fold with two pair.
I
Yeah,
don't-
blind versus blind changes
Oh.
everything here.
I'm gonna go
It
broke.
does. No, it does change it, but it's just like
I'm
It's
gonna go
such
I
a
call.
huge. It's a what, a 4x?
well,
pot?
how I'm sure somebody smarter than I am can calculate how profitable this decision and putting
Well,
or
let's-
decision
let's-
is putting 95 big blinds in to win 25. I used
Let's
to know this,
specify
but-
our hand also here. We
Yeah.
no longer have, we're not beating value. This is a bluff catch. Can we agree on that? He's not value
Yes.
betting ace queen this big, right?
No,
Right.
no, he's not.
So this is now purely a bluff catch.
Agree.
And there's no value hands that we're beating.
No, it's ace seven, ace king, pocket sevens, or I mean, of course, aces are kings as well. But
And ace 4.
Alright,
So-
so why are you ruling out single pair hands from this line?
I'm,
Blind versus blind.
that's just real spewy, is it
Sure,
not? Like
because it's
competent
a
player this tight shouldn't be playing like that, I would think.
Yeah,
because
hold-
a
hold on.
four
Blind versus
X,
blind,
a
ace
4x
queen
pot
has
is a rather unusual size for ace queen.
Because also, how many better hands do we have that we just want call with?
Nothing.
How many better
Well-
hands do we have that we just call?
Did we do this with, do we have any sets here?
Not
Yeah, I-
really.
We have no ace king.
Deuces.
We have
Are we-
ace
No ace
seven.
king.
We certainly could have sevens here,
Yeah, we could have.
but,
We could have deuces too, but
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this is a bluff catcher. I don't think we're beating value. I mean,
I agree.
I don't know very many. I mean, if this is a good player, he should
he
be 4x betting. He should be 4x potting ace queen.
No, if
which
he
is the
finds
top
this
of a
line with
single
ace
pair
queen,
value range.
Well, let's run this.
Sure. But, yeah, I think this,
Because I'm thinking ace, against a good player, you have to stick with MDF. And I think ace two is gonna be within MDF versus this guy.
well, that's a good point too. Shit.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Scotty,
I'm-
did you flip flop? You went from, oh, I'm snap folding to I'm calling?
No, I was not a snap fold.
Oh, I thought you said
I was
earlier
never a
that you.
snap fold. Everybody else
No.
was fold. And I kept my mouth shut because I knew I wanted to call and I was gonna lose because because we discussed the hand. And then I thought about it through and I put myself not in here looking at a study, but I put myself at the table. And I saw, and I just said, what am I actually doing here when this guy does it? And I looked at my hand and I go, I'm not folding. So I'm gonna lose my stack.
I feel if we're folding ace two here and he knows that, he can do this with any two cards.
Exactly. I'm not folding.
Well, and okay, so I was just gonna say, like, I mean, I see this, I fold, and I'm just looking to change tables after this, because if he finds this, I'm
right.
changing tables.
So you
If
guys
he
think we're
finds that
beating
line,
the,
good for you, bro.
so there is a
I
group
called.
here that's saying we're beating value. This is not a bluff catcher.
It's
no,
mostly a bluff
mostly-
catcher in my mind.
Larry, so this is my behind it. Yes, queens is the same as ace deuce when you're talking about the pure bluffs.
So
Do any of his bluffs contain an ace? Yes.
Mhm.
does he ever do this with king seven?
I
That-
think he
have to-
could.
Yeah,
I think
well,
it
that,
could,
you're
yeah.
right. No doubt. Now you came up with a good combo that we beat.
King two, king
Yeah.
four?
Yeah, I didn't consider those combos. Well, king four, king two, would those be in there?
King
with the
two,
flop
not
and
king four.
turn
Not
action?
king- I don't think king two. I don't think king four because I think that he doesn't bet the king on the turn that size. Very
Yeah,
often.
I would agree. I would agree that king four is probably not in there.
King
I
two
think you
suited-
guys make some great arguments, but I still just look at this like calling my whole stack to win 25 big blinds. In my mind, it's still a bluff catcher. And
Oh,
it's
hold
just
on, hold on.
pick a better
Ken,
spot.
you're doing the wrong math. You're not calling to win 25 big blinds. You're calling to win 200, to win the combined to win. He put in 94
Okay.
more.
My mistake.
You're
I
you're
for-
calling to win 94 plus 25.
Okay, no, you're right. You're right.
And you don't have to win half more. You can win less than half the time, and this is profitable. Not a lot less
Eh,
than half.
MDF.
Oh, well, that
20
changes everything. That
MDF
totally
is
changes it.
21%.
Yeah,
Oh, and that should fall in there then.
yeah. This is too high up. And so, Larry, to answer
No,
your
you
thing
guys are
is,
right.
to answer the question about is it a bluff catch? Yeah, mostly. But does that mean I'm going to call with any ace? Well, I don't have to meet MDF. I don't have to call every ace. So why don't I do the two pair that beats at least a tiny bit of his value, the king seven, king deuce. And granted, he has very few king deuces because it's only king deuce suited probably there. And then the very occasionally misplayed ace queen.
Okay,
Ace
yeah,
jack.
I could see that.
No.
Very, very, very rarely, but not never. And therefore, that's why I would like to do this with ace deuce and not ace five. So that's my logic. I called.
No, you guys make great points. In game, I'm still finding the fold, but
All right. You're ready
I'm
for
a
the
net.
reveal.
I'm a net.
Yeah, and I've been on a pretty disciplined kick of not heroing, and I don't know if this would be considered a hero call. I was putting it in the bluff catching category for sure. And so I've been just taking these large river bets from this population here that I'm playing against and just, not heroing. And this was, I used my whole time big. I think I even timed out, if I remember
Okay.
right.
Yeah, I'll do that sometimes.
Come on, baby. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. No. Wow.
Brazil.
And this is when you change tables.
Okay. Great.
This is
Good
when
work
you
on this.
leave.
Well,
That was a good
yeah.
hand.
I didn't know, he didn't reveal, but
This is
Oh, that was
ignition.
ignition? Okay.
yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Th-
I was
this is
still
the thing.
folding, but
When you
So I
think
like
of it
it.
there, you don't have very many better hands that had a call post flop line. So
Yeah,
you're pretty
that's a
much
good
at
point.
the-
that's
You're
true.
pretty much at the very top of your range. In that
Mike, do you
line.
want to show us this in solver?
Yeah, were you gonna do that?
It's up to you. I don't mind.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
If anybody wants to see it.
Can you show, if I'm gonna do it, that's fine, but can you show the hand again?
Oh, yep.
No, that was an interesting one.
Larry, you get that set up and I'll give you another quick pre-flop thing for you guys.
Okay.
Sorry, what were the stakes in that hand? Oh, that's
There we
NL
go.
50. Okay. I don't know. Most players at that level don't really find those types of.
It was an SRP, right?
Yep, blind versus
Yeah,
blind, try to get
NL
out of your
50
way
is
here.
pretty good.
And the flop was ace. List me the flop again.
I
Or just-
guess 50 is where you
I
start
got it.
seeing a
I
jump
got the
in
flop.
skill.
I know, but I'm putting it in DTO to see how different it is.
Oh, cool. All right. It's
And table value.
You can see it still,
Ace
right?
7 king rainbow. Thank you.
So here's a question I have a lot of times. So raise a button, get a small 3-bet.
Yeah.
Can we call
Not
this
folding.
hand? Folding?
I'm not folding.
I
Not
like
folding?
I like to call.
That's what I'm curious about, is how low do we go here?
yeah.
I mean,
the
you know,
small
I
three
think
bets.
you can mix in folds against certain opponents. I'll say that much. Like
Yeah, I mean, I wound up calling, but that was just a curious question to these
It's-
small 3-bets. How much wider should we get? Like a typical 3-bet would be 11 big blinds, 10, and I would
those
fold
l-
to those bets.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah,
tough.
That makes
obviously,
sense.
but
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
when they 3-bet too small, I don't fold. I would fold like king 9, queen 9, jack, like the bottom of
Yeah.
my offsuit range.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
For pretty much anything in my suited range, I'm
Those
still calling.
suited one gappers, those can realize equity. Like they can flop so well. Especially in those blind versus blind heads up spots. No, I like to call there.
All right. So what was his size on?
You went 2
got
into
small-
7.
He went 2 into 7, right?
Yep.
So none of our aces are.
All right,
going
I
to
got that. Turn is the 4.
By the way, sorry, I just wanted to see how often. So he uses this size. Turn is we call. Turn is the 4 with the 2 of
No,
Turn
hearts,
is the
Turns
2
to
of
2.
spades.
2 of spades.
Oh, we hit 2 pair then. Okay.
So now we have 2 pair. He polarizes, right? He goes to like 7-5.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
he's
he goes
a good
7
player,
into 11.
right? He's using very common sizing we see in solver. Oops. Now the question is, do we pass play? We can sometimes, but not mostly. Mostly we call.
Make it a 50% size here and see how much more we raise.
We were hearts here, right? Ace deuce hearts.
We
Oh,
actually
even less.
raise less. That's typically as the bet gets lower, we raise more.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Where are our raises coming from if he's using his size in games? If he uses his size in games, so our sets are pure in position raising, but our 2 pair are mixed. Which is a little surprising for me, because I always think of 2 pairs being fragile in some sense.
They really are. Especially a deuce 2 pair.
Not really on this board though.
So yeah, so we're just raising our sets here, really. And some trash, I would imagine. Okay, so strategy.
Scroll over which trash we're just real quick. Let's just look at
Sure.
what that trash is. It's
We'll
always
do it
good
this way. Do it this way. Trash hands
that we bet.
that we're raising, right?
Yeah, we raise. All right, gut shots.
Probably the flush draws, right?
We don't have any flush draws.
Is this
Uh,
flop or turn?
Nonsense.
This
Oh,
is turn.
Oh,
in
there are
okay.
position.
Oh, this is
there's
okay. My
Nonsense
mistake.
that blocks something. I don't know what they
No,
block.
they're
Nonsense.
flush draws.
So it's calling,
Oh,
it
oh,
is,
it was a suited, it came suited.
yeah, so it's calling it trash hands because it's
Suited off hand.
the worst flush draws, right? If we clear this, it's go to
Yeah,
flush
okay.
draws.
That's what I thought.
Flush filters, flush draw nuts, Draw. Combo and draw. So we could see it's taking the bottom portion of the flushes and raising a position.
Yeah, those weird gappers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, that makes
Um,
sense.
So we get to call. Now, here's the pay dirt. 4 of hearts.
4 of hearts.
Sorry?
4 of hearts. Yep.
Okay, so he does get, does he get shoves? He gets to shove with 8% of his range. And he has a lot of what looks like. Well, let's look. Where is his? So if he bets all in, our B150 here, and we go no made hand. He really isn't. He's only doing this with Jack 10, but
Does Solver actually have his combo in range? What was that? 9-8 hearts, I think.
9-8 of hearts. Yep.
Okay, yeah, it's in there. Okay.
it does. It just doesn't
But-
use this size.
Uses a different sizing.
Okay.
So it's
But
bluffing.
9-8 of clubs has some big bets.
Yeah.
He wasn't that far off, to be honest.
Which
So-
it's pretty surprising, but
So yeah, so this is very similar to the SPR that we had, I
And if
think.
he's getting you to fold 2 pair,
So where is our cutoff here? So, yeah, so
Single aces are
Joey's
shook.
right. 2 pairs, good enough here.
sure,
Let's go.
that
let's
makes
see
sense.
Two. Look at the king two.
King 2
king
mixes.
2 is
King two
indifferent.
is not as happy about it,
Let's see the EV of calling.
but we'll simplify this and say all 2 pairs.
Yeah, we're not really happy about it. It's not
No,
winning a lot of
and-
chips.
And like looking at it in retrospect, I'm giving him too much credit for assuming he's gonna show up with pocket sevens and like ace 7. Like, no, it's totally fine. Totally fine.
Yeah, so I mean, we're always calling A7. I think A7 is very important that we're blocking his front door, his flop set.
Yep.
I think we can agree on that, right? That's why we could see it by how outsized the EV of calling is
Yeah,
compared to the others, right?
right.
And so, yeah, A7 is pure and the other ones, I mean, yeah, it's really close, Mike.
Yeah.
It's really close. If
No,
you
this
give-
hand
if-
was very
If you take
valuable
away
to look at, I
someone's
think.
bluffs, then let's just look at hand classes here. Let's see, yeah, so we very quickly, once we get to below like 50% equity, we're like, forget about it, we're out. Like
Mhm,
ace-9, just like sometimes.
mhm.
Yeah, it's the player from the HUD that was gonna make me call.
Cause he was a good player.
Not that I would do it in population, but being that his HUD stats were so solid, we had to stick close to GTO in my mind.
Sure.
And so,
I was
and this
pretty
is,
sure ace 2 suited was a GTO call.
yeah,
At the same time, though, doesn't that give him kind of more credibility for a value hand just with what the board actually is? A lot of top of range stuff?
Nope,
Or is it
the
just a
opposite.
function of blind versus blind, just the number of combos?
Blind versus blind.
Okay,
And
okay,
good players.
that makes
and
sense.
Good players bluff more than bad players on the river.
Okay, understood.
especially
Makes sense
blind
to me.
versus blind, where they know origins. They know
Yeah.
ranges, ranges are very wide, so you, yeah.
This isn't
Gotcha.
going to tell us anything, Scotty.
Oh, come on.
The really hard part was on the river.
We're gonna get to the river on this. This is a 2-person hand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. So, just for seeing it. So our flop, rerunning our flop, it was, I can tell you that the ace deuce was a pure call on the flop. Now, when we get to here, his bet sizes, he's got a 787. That's what he bet. All right, now we look at, excuse me, he bet.
I don't think you clicked it, did you?
All blind 175. Oh, the big blind hasn't called. Big turn. Turn.
Are we looking at, we're looking at that blind versus blind hand, the big blind? small
Yeah,
blind?
and I have a 5, not a 7, because that's all DTO wizard had. Try that again. Small blind. That's his range. Yes. He bets 787. Thank you.
There.
See what we do with our ace deuce here? Pure calls,
Okay.
doesn't raise the 2 pair there. Okay, call, great. River is the 7 in this case.
Four hearts.
Yeah, but it's the 7 in our world because the 7 is closer and the 4 brings in a straight. Because
Right.
we had to start with ace king 5. We couldn't start with ace king 7 because we didn't have it. And it was the 7 is of spades. Who
It was a
cares?
heart.
It was a heart.
Heart. That's fine. Let's just do that.
Same thing.
Well, yeah. Okay, there we go. There we go. There's the 7 of hearts. And if you want to see his range, he's got the 8-9, right? So there's some 8-9 bluffing, not at his size.
Now
Yeah.
they had some all in
Oh yeah,
purple.
He's got-
Sliver.
So I would assume
Well,
his,
4%, that's not negligible.
I would
yeah.
assume his value shove with ace king here. Well, I would assume he does well, ace king is
Right.
two pair, never mind.
All in.
all in. So there's our all in. He goes all in.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Pure call, very
Okay.
similar.
Okay, sure.
GTO says the same thing as GTO for fun.
No,
Alright.
I took a lot out of this hand. I'm actually there's a lot of stuff here I can actually apply at the table. So there was a
Does
lot of
it-
value.
Does it
looking at
mix with
this.
king two or does it call pure with king two?
Oh, let's
GTO
look at
wizard was mixing with king two.
It was indifferent, was it not? Or was
King
that king
2,
4?
pure call. King 2 is a pure call in this. King
Okay.
7 was the mix.
Okay.
So
Oh,
ace deuce calls, ace 5 calls, ace 7 calls, ace king you don't have. King 5, you don't have. King 5, you have and it calls pure. King 7, it mixes the king 7 for its solvery reasons.
yeah, one of them was indifferent, was it not?
Yeah, and the king 5, I said, yeah, the king 5 state. The king 5 block, the king 5 blocks flopped sets. It's that game.
Okay.
The king 2 blocks turn sets. You have fewer, but let me look in the absolutes to see how often you have it. You don't have very many king 2. You have all the ace 2, you have all the ace. Ace 7 is all there. Okay. That's that. You don't hear enough about it. Cool.
Interesting.
Shall we end there?
Do whatever you guys want.
All right. Excellent. That was 3 nice hours.
Yeah, it was a really good session. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
And
sure.
so, I agree. I'm not into a multi-way April.
No, I like going back to GTO Wiz. It was cool
Yeah.
looking at DTO, but I think GTO Wiz is the better
Yeah.
tool overall, more
But
valuable.
if you, yep, but if
for
you didn't
study.
see the chat, what I'm gonna do is Prometheus has a really inexpensive option, $10 a month. And it
Oh
also
yeah,
has a option.
what is Prometheus? I haven't heard of that one.
It's
I
a
thought
new
I knew
one out
everything.
there. It's new.
Prometheus is one that James Romero likes.
Are
Yeah.
they related
And
to Odin? Because Odin was kind of big for a second.
No, it's different.
I haven't
Okay.
seen it. I haven't seen anybody using Odin forever.
No, it's a couple years ago, but
I'm copy and pasting Joey's link to Matt Affleck's webinar, and he uses it, and you'll be able to look at it.
sweet. I'll check that out.
And let me share the screen just for a second.
Yeah, I missed the session yesterday. I totally gapped out. I was just sitting in my house playing video games like a
Oh, there we go. Zoom. Just to put up, there's the link.
what
for
an
anybody
idiot.
that
Totally
who's
missed
already
it.
in poker coaching. I'm gonna stop the recording now. Somehow there's a way to stop the share. Stop recording. Boom.